For a free estimate, aircomfortservice.com.
Annie Frey, Ryan Wiggins, Brad Ray.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
For goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
Well, it's one of those days where we have the Supreme Court calling out some rulings, and they are some big ones. We're going to cover these throughout the course of the afternoon, get your feedback on them, and we're excited to have Senator Eric Schmitt booked for us at 1:30. So you're going to keep it right here throughout the course of the show because, of course, when Senator Schmitt's on here, you know he gives it to you straight. The big one here being the Supreme Court's ruling on the Voting Rights Act rule. Remember when we were talking about that Louisiana case where you have maps that are drawn in Louisiana, specifically drawn to ensure that there are a certain number of districts that accommodate minorities. In Louisiana, certainly, we're talking about blacks. So we have a district or two that have been drawn just to accommodate a specific type of race. Now, when you accommodate a specific type of race, Ryan, I'm pretty sure that means that you have to unaccommodate another kind of race.
Yeah, it doesn't exist in a vacuum.
No. So if you were somebody who was drawn out of a district or into a district because your skin was a particular color, there's probably a name for that. There might have even been a war and a movement against that. But here we are in 2026. And the Supreme Court is ruling on it. Well, how'd they rule? Let's listen.
This, at first blush here, is a win for the plaintiffs who were not black plaintiffs. They were non-minority voters who challenged this decision. These two districts that were minority majority. Essentially, Louisiana had drawn up districts, and then they were told in a legal battle that they had not represented black and minority voters sufficiently. They went back and drew a second district. So they had two of these minority majority districts. Well, then non-black voters sued and said, this is now violating our rights on the basis of race. So it looks like this is a 6-3 decision. There is one concurrence here, but it looks like the dissent sticks together with Justices Kagan, Sotomayor, and Jackson. But here's what the majority says. They say in some, because the Voting Rights Act did not require Louisiana to create an additional majority-minority district, no compelling interest justified the state's use of race in creating SB 8. That was those two new districts. That map is an unconstitutional gerrymander, and its use would violate the plaintiff's constitutional rights. Now, this opinion is almost 100 pages long, so we're going through to see if it says something more broadly about the Voting Rights Act. That had been the fear on the left, that somehow this decision, if it was favorable for those challenging these maps, that it would somehow do a big chunk out of the Voting Rights Act. Haven't gotten to language that suggests that yet. It sounds like this decision is primarily about what happened in Louisiana. So we'll keep digging through this, but for right now, it's a win for those who were challenging these two minority majority districts. Now, as we read through this and figure out the broader implications, there were 20 plus districts across the country that would have potentially lined up with this decision. They could be open to challenges that they were drawn on the basis of race, or that it was the primary factor that was used in drawing those districts. Most of those are throughout the South. So we'll look to see if there's enough sweeping language in this particular decision that may have a domino effect on some 20 other districts. Could be huge for the midterms. We'll continue to read through.
So that was like 3 hours ago. That was Shannon Bream's initial reaction to getting this. It's really quite interesting to see how these rulings they're read, and after they're read, then they run the papers out to the reporters so that the reporters can read them themselves. So it's not, a lot of times with a speech or something like that, State of the Union speech, networks get copies of the speech ahead of time.
Right.
They're able to look at the speech ahead of time and prepare and know key moments, and not with these. And I would venture to say that these rulings are much more consequential than a State of the Union speech. So Shannon Bream is the best in the business. But if you're not sure, okay, Shannon Bream, that was right out the gate 3 hours ago. This is the initial reaction here. How is Ms. Now doing in reaction to this? So Shannon Bream, straight from the hip.
Right.
This is what's going on. What's going on over at MS Now?
Leah, what do you see as the ripple effects? Are there other states that could now redraw their maps that you think are going to be likely to do so?
It's very possible. So one expert on voting rights, Professor Nick Stephanopoulos at Harvard Law School, actually estimated that a ruling to this effect in Louisiana versus Calais could affect up to potentially 50 legislative districts. Now, that's not to say all of those states might redraw their districts so close to the midterm elections, but that does underscore what a significant effect this ruling will have on our democracy and who is able to obtain political power. So Florida, we know, has expressed interest in potentially doing some redistricting. Their initial plan for when they were going to do so was pushed back when we didn't have this decision last week. But my guess is they will get that process started now. And it's possible other states will follow. It's possible the president will invite other states to do more redistricting like he did when he invited them to do more partisan redistricting last year. So it remains to be seen exactly how many states might scramble to try to affect the upcoming midterm elections. But I think it's all but a certainty that many states will redraw the districts within the next few years, and certainly after the next redistricting cycle, in ways that will make it so much harder for voters of color to actually select the candidates of their choice.
So the end game here at MS Now is black people will not, or people of color will not now be able to select people who were going to serve them. You're still going to be in a district, and you're still going to be able to choose who can represent you best. And if you've got a candidate who's advocating for the majority, not just for the black people or for the white people or for the brown people or whatever colors are all acceptable to say right now, now it's more about thoughts and ideas and not about skin color, which sounds preferable, if you ask me.
Yeah, it's just so backwards to think, you know what we should do is draw congressional districts based on people's skin color and then say that's not racist. But that's exactly what the left is doing here all day today.
You want to hear how CNN's handling the moment?
Is this kind of a middle ground or what here?
You have to wait and see.
Okay.
They think 19 seats could be at risk all throughout the South. The question will be the timing. Is this a 2028 play? Is this a 2026 play?
I got to interrupt CNN because they're showing a map as well of the South, which is pretty much all red, and they're flashing blue districts going to red as if there's a tornado warning coming.
Yes.
It looks ominous. But they've got the map right now where I have it paused. They're suggesting that this is what it could look like. I'm shocked that the South is red.
It actually is a visual that works pretty well, though, those flashing districts, if they're going to flip.
Let's listen to more.
There are some primaries here coming up, not until later in the cycle, August 6th. There's one in Tennessee. That's Steve Cohen's seat. That's a majority minority district. That's in August 6th. The one Democratic seat there. The Jim Clyburn seat in South Carolina. That is the Democratic seat in South Carolina. That's a June 9th primary. Jamie, this shows you the ramifications long term for this ruling.
Absolutely. Just think about that number, 19 seats in play. And let's look at this politically. Laura, you talked about confusion going into this race. We're worried about voter suppression. Apart from the long-term impact, we are going to see people take advantage of that confusion. There is going to be, these midterms are so high stakes that anybody who thinks they can take advantage, on the state level of this decision, there is going to be a scramble to see if they can, because each side thinks this is an existential midterm with the House especially.
So now if you add on to what CNN is saying right there, you also have to understand that, 2030, there's another census that's going to happen. It's very possible that the next census will not count illegal immigrants in, well, no, that's not the right way to say it, that the census will only count citizens in, because there are a lot of people who, I actually tend to believe that the census might count citizens plus a category or two. But if the removal of counting heads is implemented in the census, that on top of this is significant. Now, when you listen to MS Now say that up to 50 seats could be implicated in this, I don't know how any of those 50 seats that are being identified in that way are not benefiting in their current state Democrats. They'd all have to be benefiting Democrats. You take 1/3 of that being accurate, that's cataclysmic to Democrats' ability to hold on to a reality that exists where they could have the House at any given time. I saw people on X today talking about trying to eliminate the two-person senator rule. Like the whole entire intent of the Senate is to equalize all areas across the country because the House is a simple majority, and of course the Senate isn't. It's where you sit down, have tea, and discuss issues, and so on and so forth. And I mean, politically speaking, back rooms right now after this Voting Rights Act has been ruled upon and Louisiana has been made to, they'll have to redraw the map as it is. This is significant in a way that will have actual measurable implications on how these elections, the next probably 3 two-year elections, are going to occur, 26, 28, and then 30, of course. So the 31 would be when the census is happening. So the census wouldn't affect 2030.
Not until 2032.
It would be 2032 when it's implemented. That goes into how important the next presidential election is going to be, but we're not going to get into that right now. I don't have time. Link Lauren's going to be with us next. Excited to talk to Link. He was at the White House yesterday. So my understanding is he was part of the White House press pool yesterday, which means he was there when the King and the Queen were there. So we're going to get all of his takes from the location. They're in Washington, D.C. I'm looking forward to talking to Link Lauren about that and everything about this moment. It is a very, very important day coming from the Supreme Court, and that's not all they ruled on today. We'll continue to talk about that throughout the course of the show. DeRoy Murdoch will be with us at 1:05. And as I mentioned, Senator Eric Schmitt, who is going to be speaking on the Voting Rights Act ruling, and then also indictment after indictment after indictment, man, they're starting to pop here. Todd Blanche gets in there and starts making things happen. Pretty incredible. Eric Schmitt, a must-listen interview in about an hour and 15 minutes. You're in the right place. We love having you here on 97.1 FM Talk. Don't go anywhere.
Corey, from your comfort service? Why are you standing next to my AC?
I'm standing behind our work.
But it's 8 p.m. You're just going to stand behind my air conditioner?
Yeah, pretty much.
Could you turn off the sprinkler then?
Absolutely. At Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation, we take pride in our work. If you need a new air conditioner or HVAC system, you can trust we'll install the equipment correctly. Plus, for a limited time, qualify for rebates up to $2,600 and 0% financing for up to 72 months. For a free estimate, visit aircomfortservice.com.
This is Congressman Bob Onder. Americans demanded border security, and House Republicans delivered. According to the Department of Homeland Security, for 10 consecutive months, U.S. Customs and Border Protection has reported 0 illegal aliens released at the border. I'm proud to have worked with the Trump administration to secure our southern border and uphold our immigration laws, and will keep fighting to advance strong policies that protect Missourians and keep America safe.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
My name is Corporal Bradley Joseph Seitz.
Jerry Reed.
Kate Weber.
These are real veterans facing a real challenge.
I have PTSD.
And I have PTSD.
I have PTSD.
Post-traumatic stress disorder can happen to anyone.
I was still in a war zone in my mind.
But treatment can turn your life around.
Treatment has really saved my life.
To learn about PTSD and how treatment can help you, call your local VA medical center or visit ptsd.va.gov.
Warm weather means more storms, and you never know when the high winds or the hail might damage your roof. Mark Cox here from my friends at Correll Roofing Company. If you haven't had your roof inspected in the last 5 years, you need to call Curtis Correll and get that inspection to check for leaks and for damage. We've already had small hailstorms this spring, and we're not quite a year out from the big hailstorm last May. Your window may may be closing to file an insurance claim connected to that. Now, here's what Curtis tells me. They are getting roofs approved for insurance claims from that 2024 storm with no problem. They're so good at what they do. The insurance companies respect and respond to them. Consider this part of your spring maintenance for your home and call Curtis today and get him out there. He did my new roof, and it looks fantastic. You're going to love working with him. They specialize in all the luxury roof shingle lines. Call 314-222-9529 or go online today to CorelRoofingCo.com.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's Best Eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
Hey, it's Mark Cox. Beat the spring cleaning rush. Call my cleaning heroes at Zero Res. Let Zero Res help you refresh your home with cleaner carpets, fresh floors, and improved air quality. You can check out all of their raging customer reviews online with a 4.9 Google rating. This week, buy one room of carpet cleaned, get one room of carpet cleaned free, unlimited rooms. Call 314-474-2020 or go online at ZeroResSTL.com.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
On this occasion, I cannot help noticing the readjustments to the East Wing, Mr. President, following your visit to Windsor Castle last year. And I'm sorry to say that we British, of course, made our own small attempt at real estate redevelopment of the White House in 1814.
My recollection was that they burned it down. So that's the king at the state dinner last night, of course, at the White House. A beautiful event taking place there. And that was after a long day of the king and the queen visiting the White House speech. It was incredibly charming, I would say. And I know a lot of people are like, kings, no kings. Well, there was one in the White House yesterday. And from what I understand, there's not a king in the White House today. Let's get to a man who was there on the scene for Link Lauren. We've got a political commentator. You were part of the White House press pool yesterday, and I'm really glad to have you on with us. Your podcast is Spot On with Link Lauren. Thanks for being with us this afternoon, Link.
Hey, thank you guys so much for having me. You know, I was going to make a no kings joke, but I thought maybe someone else would beat me to it.
Sorry. We did have a little fun airing a part of his speech at the beginning. And of course, naturally, all the Democrats stand up and applaud. And it's like, I guess they weren't serious about that either. What was it like to be there? Very different than a normal White House press pool day, I assume, for you yesterday there with the king's presence.
Well, for me, you know, I've covered the Royals and the Trumps for about 10 years. So my friends were joking. They were like, this is manifesting at the highest level. Somehow you manifested this convergence of everyone coming together. And it was really just a beautiful moment. I think it transcended partisan politics because the partnership, obviously, the transatlantic partnership has gone in Republican administrations, Democrat administrations. It's just gone throughout history and throughout time. And so it was also really great to see two men similar in age on the world stage at the top of their game who had such respect and admiration for each other. And I thought that was really beautiful, and all the detail and attention to detail the First Lady put in, planning everything. You could really feel that when you were there.
Yeah. You know, there were so many jests back and forth with full acknowledgement of the nation's history, both nations' histories, of course. Not like we had to dance around it. It was like, it is what it is. It's here, but now we're friends. And you know, my understanding is from observation and from reporting, and you can fill us in on this a little bit as well, that there is a true friendship that exists between the king and the queen and President Trump and the First Lady, that there's a real relationship there.
Absolutely. You could feel that camaraderie. And obviously, there are so few people you can probably relate to when you're at that level of attention and press and you're in that sort of bubble, right? Whether you're the president or you're the king of England, there's so few world leaders who can really relate to that. And so I think there is this real camaraderie, and you could just feel that even all the preparation, it wasn't your typical state visit like sometimes, they would do for other folks, but you could see that they really enjoyed having each other. And it'll be interesting to see, if they go back to the UK. But remember when they went to Windsor Castle last year, King Charles really rolled out the red carpet and just did an incredible trip for them. And so I'm glad we reciprocated with such a beautiful moment for them as well.
We're speaking with Link Lauren, host of the podcast Spot On with Link Lauren, a must listen to. Go subscribe. I don't know that President Trump is super popular back in the UK. President Trump is a bold person and doesn't pull any punches anywhere. It seems like it might have been easy for the king to say, I just don't know that this is really the best thing for me right now. Is he doing the thing that is the most frowned upon by the activist left? Is he normalizing President Trump?
Well, I don't know. I think he just has respect for him. And I think King Charles knows that President Trump respects him. President Trump told the story yesterday about his mother, Mary McLeod Trump, who was from Scotland, and how she really loved King Charles when he was younger and loved the Queen. May she rest in peace. And so that's something I've covered a lot for years as well, is the way his mother really respected the royals and respected the royal family. And it was just a full circle moment. I didn't see any reason for them to not go through with the trip. Why? Because there's a situation in Iran, because this is going on. Why cancel a trip? The king is not really an inherently political figure. And so he wasn't going to wade into all of that anyway. He maybe would touch on it delicately, but I thought he really struck a perfect balance.
Yeah, I agree. And it was just a heartwarming day. I'm glad the weather was so beautiful so that they could be outside. Yeah. Eventually. Let's lay out the pictures and the photographs that I saw. I want to talk a little bit about the White House Correspondents' Dinner that is what it was. And I want to know what your thoughts are on it, having been at these types of events or in an area where, yesterday they're in the East Room for this dinner. There's a talk about a ballroom, the necessity of it, the vanity of it, whatever it might be. How is everything kind of humming around the White House right now, post-White House Correspondents' Dinner?
Well, it's interesting. The people who work with the president and the president himself, they're just very resilient. And unfortunately, this isn't their first rodeo. As President Trump said, this has happened to him before. He's had some experience with this. And so I pray for everyone who works with him, friends of mine and colleagues of mine who work with the president. I pray and think about them often because they're in that pressure cooker and that high stakes environment. But they have such a duty and they feel such a sense of service to the country to do their jobs. There's not a person in the administration who is not hustling and working. And so I think they will continue to move past this because they're a family at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's difficult to watch and see the normalcy, the business, the show must go on, but the business absolutely has to go on as well. President Trump was adamant about rescheduling in 30 days that dinner. I don't know if you were at the White House Correspondents' Dinner.
No.
You weren't at it, but what was your thought about, you're connected to so many of these people. Was there not enough security? Was there not enough thought put into that event? Because it could have been so incredibly worse than it ended up to be.
So what's interesting is a lot of the people I've spoken to who showed me their tickets and had tickets, as even late last night when I met up with some friends who had their tickets, and there didn't seem to be a QR code or a barcode on the ticket, and it seemed that you could easily replicate it. And obviously you're in a hotel with a lot of rooms, and there are guests who haven't been completely vetted, and obviously that's what ended up happening. So I think maybe next time they'll have to just take even more precaution, but I don't want to knock the planners of the event or anybody because I know they put so much work into it. And Secret Service, that room really was secure. I will be honest. I don't think anyone was going to get into that ballroom in the hotel, and the halls outside. Yes, unfortunately, but getting to the president in that ballroom, it did seem that Secret Service had that room secure. There are also men in plain clothes with guns who kind of were blending in. And so it was just a horrific incident and something, obviously, I guess now we have to take it to a whole new level. And I think we should build the ballroom. I'm not going to be one of these conservative influencers who's like, we need the ballroom. Everybody do the ballroom. But hell, we actually do need the ballroom.
Well, that's the best link. That is 100%. That right there. It's like, come on, folks. There's some common sense involved in this. And if people are for or against the ballroom, I want people to have educated themselves on what the ballroom actually is instead of just wanting the ballroom because Trump says he wants it or not wanting the ballroom because Trump says that he wants it. There's a real function here. It's not just Donald Trump's life who was in danger in that moment. And like you said, they were able to secure that ballroom, but they're in a hotel. And this guy booked the room at the Hilton Hotel the day he found out Donald Trump was going to be there. I mean, that can't ever happen again.
I think what's really concerning, too, and why they reacted the way they did and ushering them off stage is you don't know if it's a lone gunman or is he working in tandem with other people. There's so many variables and everything's happening in split seconds and nobody knows. And so you had to get them to safety. But no, those images, not to get too emotional, but those images of our First Lady crawling under a table, of Caroline Leavitt crawling off stage 9 months pregnant. Like, that's not who we are. That's not who we are as a country. But this is what happens when we have these radical leftists who are indoctrinated in these online chat rooms and they're pushed with all this propaganda. And you see these polls like from YouGov that show 25% of liberals think political violence is justified. He really thought he was going to be a hero and some type of martyr for the cause because of how warped his thinking was.
Yeah. Host of the podcast Spot On with Link Lauren. We're speaking with Link right now. I'm curious if I don't want to ask you to talk out of school, and certainly you wouldn't have to name any names, but being around in that press pool, it's a lot of hurry up and wait. You're standing around with the ability to potentially talk to people. Did that event shake the press pool that would have been in there for a night that's supposed to be a celebration and a party? Did that change anything, do you think, for some of those folks in the press?
I think some of the members of the press are acting like they went to war. They're really, really belaboring it. I think some of the influencers, I was disgusted with the way they made it all about themselves. I mean, some of the influencers, their behavior afterward was just so tacky, and it's why I don't associate with a lot of them, and I keep to myself. It was very me.
Yeah.
You know, even some of the girls who were like filming themselves. Normally when you're a journalist and you're at an event where there's something horrible unfolding, you're filming those events, you're not taking selfie videos.
Yeah.
And so I really don't have much positive to say about those journalists. I'm glad that everybody is okay and that none of them lost their lives and everyone is doing fine. But it was very interesting to see how some of them really made it about themselves.
Last question before we let you go. We're speaking with Link Lauren. Just to get back a little bit to the events of yesterday, to be in the presence of the King and the Queen who are making this visit in the 250th birthday of our country. Talk to us about some of the attention to detail. You were talking about what Melania, all the touches that she added to the event and the heartwarming relationship that was that we were able to witness on the other side of the camera. But to be there, talk to us a little bit, set the scene for us a little bit about what it was like there on the White House grounds.
There wasn't a minute that wasn't planned out. There wasn't a detail that was overlooked. And I think it's because Melania Trump, before she was First Lady, was in fashion and she studied architecture, and she has such an attention to detail that carries over not just through the clothes that she wears because she looks beautiful and she looks incredible, but into what are we going to do when the King comes over? How are we going to do the state visit, the state dinner? Are we going to go here and do this and do that? And even when she went with the Queen to see the children and discuss education, and they were down at the tennis pavilion, I got to witness that. Everything was meticulously planned out. And to me, that planning is a sign of respect, right?
Yeah.
These folks are coming over here. We're going to show them respect by really planning it out. And there have been past state visits where I feel like I'm thinking of, some of Obama's state visits where it was kind of, shoddy and thrown together. And I feel like these are really done well. And I mean, even the military presentation, the flyover, it was just really so incredible.
Well, it's great to hear that the Trumps, our president and first lady, are working in tandem to present such a good, respectful welcome to those visitors and hopefully some future ones as we work towards a lot of the business of foreign policy. This was kind of a heartwarming high note, I think, where all the normal people could go, well, that was nice at the end. And Link, I'm so glad that you were there and that we could talk to you about it.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations on that opportunity.
Thank you for having me.
Thank
you, Annie.
Bye-bye. Bye. Spot On with Link Lauren is the podcast. Subscribe. You will love it. He is there, like I said, a man in the room, part of the White House press pool yesterday. He's part of that rotating group of people who gets to go in there as new media, and his podcast is fantastic. Spot On with Link Lauren. Also a former senior advisor to RFK Jr. and political commentator. On a break right now, the YouTube poll for today, haven't mentioned it yet, but I'm going to throw it out there right now. we're asking about DEI because there's a few stories popping right now regarding DEI. And which direction are we in? I'm wondering if we're in a crossroads right now, or maybe if the crossroads, if that fork in the road, so to speak, is behind us, maybe we've chosen our next path. Here's the poll question for today. And a reminder, you can vote by going to the live broadcast on the Annie Frey YouTube channel and vote in the live chat. You can also text us your thoughts on the Annie Frey Show text line, 314-241-9797, 314-241-9797. Here's the poll. Have DEI policies and anti-racism education affected the level of racism in the United States? Yes, it's lowered racism. Yes, it's increased racism. Or no, hasn't had an effect. We'll be right back. Stewart's American Mortgage and the Bagel Loan. If you are looking, listen, I'm talking to you. You are looking at your radio right now going, is she talking to me? And I'm saying, I'm talking to you. Listen, move in close. You need equity out of your home. You're looking for cash to pay down high interest credit card debt. You are looking to finally make that improvement on your home. You're not sure how you can afford it, but you know you got to do it. I know how you can do it. It's with Stewie and a Bagel Loan refinance on your home where you pay nothing to refinance your house. You get to take equity out of your home and use that money, that equity that's just sitting there right now, to work for you, to pay down and get rid of. Imagine being rid of that high interest credit card debt. Imagine being rid of the pressure of that debt that's kind of consuming you right now and you just don't know how you can get ahead. Here's how you get ahead. Call or text 314-324-4440. 314-324-4440. I've bagel loaned twice. You're going to love it. Google the Bagel Loan, NMLS number 226715.
I'm Ultima Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Every time one of my children started driving, it was terrifying. Thousands of accidents happen across the country. We see it every day. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us.
Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Today, scammers use AI, fake voices, and realistic messages to make fraud look real. If you're pressured to act fast or promise guaranteed returns, don't fall for the call. I'm Denny Hoskins, Missouri Secretary of State. Our office regulates investing and works to protect investors. Call the Missouri Securities Hotline at 800-721-7996 or visit MissouriProtectsInvestors.com. Paid for by the Missouri Investor Education and Protection Fund. This is a public service announcement.
Tony LaRussa here. Men, are you running out of stamina rounding third base? If so, call my friends at Victory Men's Health in O'Fallon, Illinois. Scoring at home is important, just as important as crossing the plate with the winning run. VictoryMen'sHealth.com.
I really like these kind of questions. I hope that you will engage with us in the YouTube live chat poll today. The question is, have DEI policies and anti-racism education affected the level of racism in the United States? Here's your options. Yes, it has lowered racism. Yes, it has increased racism, or no, there's been no effect. Let us know what you think about this. Leave a comment on the YouTube stream, and then also you can text us at 314-241-9797. It is 12:36. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
JerryKelly.com.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. I'm grateful to be with you this afternoon. It's a beautiful day outside. That YouTube poll that Ryan just mentioned there, a reminder, you can react to these polls on our text line at 314-241-9797. And, of course, leave us your thoughts in the YouTube chat. Have DEI policies and anti-racism education affected the level of racism in the United States? How many times have you seen teachers? It seems like the front line of DEI, I put in here specifically anti-racism education, because that what was that called? What was that called in the classroom? There was, I'll think of it, probably in a commercial break. But the way that teachers and educators have been instructed to put this anti-critical race theory, thank you, in my head. I don't know where that came from. But the way that they have been counseled and instructed that you're supposed to insert critical race theory into all subjects. You don't go to critical race theory class, but there should be critical race theory in math class, which might include anti-racist based word problems. I'm making something up here. It's just supposed to be spoon-fed in all places with repetition for these students. There is an indoctrination level to that is, in my opinion, devious, because the people who are doing it you're opening up an avenue for very personal political beliefs with the foundation of anti-racism, which when you read Ibram Kendi or whatever it is, when you read that, I mean, I've read it. I've read the critical race theory stuff. It's been a bit since, I don't know, was that like 22 maybe, when it was super heavy? I went in and read the stuff that he was putting out, and it is absolutely going to make a little white kid feel bad for being white. You go back to look at things from the 90s, isn't there kind of a collective understanding that the 90s were more chill than now?
Oh, heck yeah.
And it's not just, for us, the dawn of the internet existed, but I specifically remember, I don't know if we got the internet in somewhere between 96 and 98. I think it was more towards 97, 98. It's like the internet was this thing that was there. It feels a little bit about like 6 months, 12 months ago, AI. Here's this thing. It's mine to use. Now what? And you can see in a year's time, AI has really integrated itself into a lot of, if you're not using it, you've at this point pretty much made a decision not to use it. So you've already acted on it, and you said that's not for me. And I respect that for a lot of reasons. I do think that if you don't start learning how to use some of this AI, you're going to get lapped, you're going to get passed, and you're going to have to either catch up or you're just going to be in the rear view.
Or AI will get so smart that it'll be able to instantly teach you and catch you up.
You'd have to be willing to do that, though.
Yeah.
And if you're catching up, then you're still going to be behind. So with the critical race theory implementation in the last 5-6 years, we have been actively telling a wave of kids who had just previously been locked in their homes for 2 years, maybe, due to a pandemic that was overblown and incredibly mismanaged. We've been telling kids, if you're white, shame on you. If you're black, you should be angry. That's incredibly, incredibly damaging to a developing mind because kids don't have those thoughts. I seriously remember, this is something that is kind of stuck with me because I realized it a lot later in life. But when I was in grade school, and I went to a Lutheran school, but when I was in grade school, we had a black kid in our class, and our school didn't have a lot of people of color. But we did have a black kid in our class. I literally did not know or notice that he was black until 5th grade because something came up. I think maybe we were studying civil rights or something like that. And we were old enough to where you could kind of talk about some of these heavier issues. And it occurred to me, oh my gosh, Bobby's black. And I say that, some people might look at that and say, well, that's your ignorance. That's your white privilege. But what I'm telling you is I never saw Bobby because of his skin color. I saw him because of who he was. How good he was to have on your kickball team, or how helpful he was to have if we were doing Bible trivia or something like that. It was never about his skin color. And then it occurred to me that he was in this particular way different than me. But I had 10 years of, I was probably in school with him for 6 years of experiencing Bobby for just being Bobby. And that was foundational for me. Flip that and have, critical race theory be spoon-fed into these classrooms from the time that you're in having books read to you in a classroom. You're itty bitty. How damaging can that be to a generation of people? I mean, we're going to find out. I kind of hope that what it does is push these kids to get out in the real world and grow up and mature and understand what Martin Luther King Jr. was saying all the time. Like, some of this stuff is bullcrap. It just matters what kind of person they are. And it doesn't matter if their skin color looks like mine or looks different than mine. What kind of person are they? And what kind of person am I? I think there are a few things that we have experienced in the last 10, 15 years or so that have been transformational. And I think obviously the dawn of the internet is what's made change happen so rapidly. I think our usage of social media, separate from our just usage of having a phone in our hand where we can access anything at any time, and we have now developed your closest relationship is with your phone. Think about that. I would put myself there too. Your usage of your phone as a relationship. Social media and our ability to look at the best highlights of all of the people who exist in our life, and also to put anything out there as if everybody is going to care about it at any given time. And you can measure it by clicks and likes. And critical race theory, DEI, a heavy push to spotlight all the things that make us different to separate us. In 20 years, we're going to have adults who are going to be able to react to what it was like to be educated that way. And I think we're going to learn a lot about how much we screwed up and if any of it actually was helpful. I can't really see how any of this is actually ending up to be helpful.
I pray to God that in 20 years we do have that revelation that we can look back and go, yeah, you know what? That was not the right way to go. Because if we don't, I don't know that we have a country.
It will just be our children saying, when I grew up, I experienced A, B, and C, and I'm not doing that for my kids.
I hope so.
Because to me, that's how change happens, is you get to, I don't know if there's anything you can think of off the top of your mind of like what you experienced as a kid that as an adult, you were like, I'm making a 180 on this one. We're not repeating that. I'm sure there are people listening who can think of things like that. I think there's a lot of parenting shifts that happen. I mean, certainly the way the 80s and 90s kids were raised is not the way the 2000s and the teens kids were being raised. And I think the 2020 kids and the 2030 kids are going to be raised differently because we've gone from a heavy-handed greatest generation to the boomers who experienced a lot of prosperity and some adversity along the way. It's just generationally, we're constantly making adjustments, and it's like a boat that's trying to get straight and directed straight ahead. So you adjust right. Oh, but then we went too far right. Now you got to get it back to the left, and you're trying to straighten the thing out. And I don't know that it ever gets straightened out. But what we have done specifically in the diversity, equity, and inclusion has been the most excluding thing I can think of in education in the last 15, 20 years. And I hear a lot of kids that I'm around be able to identify it, and they're in a diverse group of friends or whatever. They're able to identify it, and they kind of make fun of it.
Good. Just like we used to make fun of stupid commercials. Maybe that's the thing of the time is whatever is being taught in that generation, kids are going to make fun of it.
Yeah, and you're talking like once you get into that maybe upper middle school, high school age, you're just going to revenge.
Yeah. You're going to make fun of whatever the prevailing wisdom of that moment that you're being force-fed is. And if that's, what's telling about that is that means that is the prevailing wisdom of the moment for those kids, is that DEI stuff.
And I think it just really starts to manifest itself in what happens next when they get to make a decision about how the next and they'll screw up their own things. We're screwing up our own things. Our parents screwed up their own things and every generation before. But I'm curious what you folks think right now listening, and I would love your text messages at 314-241-9797. Have DEI policies and anti-racism education affected the level of racism in the United States? Lowered it, increased it, or hadn't had an effect? Come vote. YouTube live chat poll at the Annie Frey, F-R-E-Y YouTube channel. We'll have Wiggins America. Have you played any of the 10 most played video games of all time?
It's news heavy.
Ryan, when I read that to you folks, That's the first time I read it as well. I got halfway through the sentence and I was like, what? Well, we'll find out next. I bet I have. I bet I've played a few of these.
I think you played a few of them.
All right, we'll be right back. Point Pest Control, point with an E, pointpestcontrol.com. If you have ants in your home, if you have those flying, stinging pests around your home, oh my gosh, if you have spiders in your home, you've got two options. Torch the place or call Point Pest Control. I'd call Point. It's going to be more affordable for you. 636-798-0023, 636-798-0023. Spiders is why I called Point Pest Control. They came to my house, and I have no spiders in my house, thank the good Lord. I know that because they come out quarterly, because I pay for a premier service plan where they come out 4 times a year, and they treat my inside of my home and my outside of home. So they're always looking for spider evidence, and they don't find it because they've taken care of it. If you've got any of these pests, get the very best at Point Pest Control. 636-798-0023, pointpestcontrol.com.
What's happening now
He appears to reference a motive.
is happening here.
He writes this quote, administration officials, they are targets.
It doesn't happen to people that don't do anything. We're going to continue to do a great job.
97.1 FM Talk.
Hi, I'm Bob Kershaw with Retirement Advisory Group.
Hi, I'm Tammy Kershaw. When we meet our clients for the first time, they have built up a lifetime of savings. Their question is, what can we do with this money so we can live comfortably the rest of our lives? First, we develop a strategy to protect your nest egg from any market losses. Then, we build your own personalized structured income plan that will generate you an income the rest of your life. We put you in control of your money.
You've earned it, and it's our job to make sure you enjoy it. Let our team show you how you can have the retirement of your dreams. Call us now at 314-993-9494 for a no-cost, no-obligation retirement review. You will also get a copy of our latest edition book, Your Key to a Worry-Free Retirement. We've been helping retirees and pre-retirees retire with confidence for 40 years. Call us now at 314-993-9494 or go online at retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
Annie Frey is St. Louis conservative.
Ow! Oh! Woo! Smash that!
Wiggins!
Oh! Wiggins!
You know what there's not enough of in music these days? People going, huh! Needs to be more grunting.
For sure.
All right, we're all on the same page. Let's go ahead and do Wiggins America. This is the 10 most played video. No, music.
Well, there's music.
Like you're just playing over my intro music.
Now there are rules? You just made this an edict
Yes,
13
there are
seconds
rules.
ago.
That's a clear violation of the rules.
I'm just going to grunt through the rest of this segment because I think that should be happening.
I don't like that.
She's her own person, Ryan. You can't tell her what to do.
This is Wiggins America. I can.
It's the Annie Frey Show.
Get up off of that thing. All right, 10 most played video games of all time. I want to see if you've played them. Some of them, I want to know if you even heard of them.
And if you want to listen to this segment twice, you can check out the Annie Frey Show podcast.
Which you absolutely should. If you miss some video game, you're like, I need to check that out. Well, then rewind and get the podcast. All right, Tetris is the first one.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody's played Tetris.
I have Tetris on my Nintendo Switch that I play sometimes when the kids, they just think it's the most boring thing.
Really?
And then they sit there and watch me play a few games. They're like, let me try that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's just classic Tetris, right? Does it play music? Get off of that thing.
Got it on my
It'd be great if every time you made a 5-row chunk, it said that.
Yeah.
Get up off.
I'm sure you could find a mod.
Somebody has done that. Pokemon Go.
Yeah, I played that.
Yeah, I played that.
I downloaded Pokemon Go as soon as it became super popular because it was the summer of 2016, and I was at the Lake of the Ozarks, and Evelyn was 2 weeks old. Or maybe she was May, I might have been the end of July. So let's see, May, June, July. She was probably 2 months old. It was 105 degrees outside at the Lake of the Ozarks, and we were down there, and I had this little baby. So everywhere they went, I just stayed in the car with her. And I was just reading news and stuff, and they were talking about Pokemon Go is taking over the country or whatever.
This would have been what, 2017?
16.
Okay.
Yeah, 2016, because she was born May of 2016. And so I downloaded it, and I played it because I spent the whole vacation just sitting in the car with the baby because it was too hot for her to be outside.
Mm-hmm.
It was fun.
It is a fun game. Now they're apparently selling your data.
Oh, I'm sure. I haven't played it in
for
years.
geo-tracking.
Oh, we played it a ton during COVID.
We did too. That's when we downloaded it.
Hours.
It's the only thing you could do for like 2 months.
Outside of your house.
Just drive around and
Yes.
play Pokemon Go. There's people doing it everywhere. Like, oh, I'm in a gym now because I'm at
What team are you?
Starbucks. I have no idea.
I'm Team Yellow.
That was me too. I was Team Yellow.
I remember
Everybody
going down to
made fun of me.
Cahokia Mounds and being like, oh, now we're at a mega gym.
Yeah. There's some people in my family who still will play it from time to time, but only when we go to obscure places. Like if you go to the zoo or if you're at a park or something like that, or DC or something like that. They'll be like, can you catch me a Pokemon in DC? Sure. I can do that.
I have had people ask me that. I'm like, what are you talking about? Candy Crush.
Yeah. I
Never
played
played
that during sleepless nights when I was pregnant a lot.
I don't get Candy Crush. Is it that addictive?
The music is nice.
Does it do that?
Oh. It'd be really funny. Did I delete it off my phone? I did.
It just seems like a kind of a boring, monotonous game.
I think
mindless.
I think that the mindless part of it is the appeal of
the
it.
attraction.
Yeah. I actually do like the music from it.
I don't know the music well enough to even know it if you sang it, I don't think.
It's too sound effecty. I'm thinking of trying it, but it would be a mistake, so I'm going to pass.
Grand Theft Auto 5 specifically.
Oh, yeah.
But let's just say Grand Theft Auto. Have
I've
you
played Vice
it?
City a lot.
Yeah.
And then I got carjacked, and I was like, enough of that.
Grand Theft
Too
Auto
real.
5,
Yeah.
I still have it.
Do you?
Oh, yeah.
I don't
It's
know
good
that
stuff.
I specifically played Grand
It's
Theft
a
Auto.
filthy, nasty game.
But I did watch people play it. I was in the room a lot.
I wouldn't let my son play it. Like, Grand Theft Auto would 100% be a not under my roof thing. You want to play Call of Duty? Go for it.
Here's the
Grand
one
Theft Auto? No.
that when I read it, I was like, no clue what this is. Gary's Mod.
Oh, yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
I've never heard
it's
of this.
It's a PC game. It's a sandbox. There's games within the game.
That's exactly what it says. It's a sandbox game that uses assets from many different Valve titles.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess it brings a bunch of different little games under one heading.
Prop Hunt is one of the most popular ones where you go into like a Call of Duty type game and you become a prop and then the other people have to find you. So it's like hide and seek.
Info Dude just commented Pokemon Go was a way to help the Chinese see places that Google Earth cars couldn't see. Crap.
Is that 100% true?
Edwardsville is well documented.
I don't know. Fortnite.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Played it last night.
You love Fortnite, don't
Crown
you?
Victory Royale.
Is Roblox on your list? Because it's on this
On
one.
my S list. Not in my house.
You don't like it?
No, never, ever, never going to happen. No.
Is it because of the
Don't
chat?
Yes, and also, did you know on Roblox you can play a game that mimics the Sandy Hook shooting? Do you know on
don't
Roblox?
know anything about that game.
Yes. I can explain a little bit more about that later, but there are a lot of... Roblox is a hub of games that there's a lot of different things you can play on Roblox.
Okay.
Roblox isn't the game. So it's like a destination where you can go and play different games.
So it's like Gary's Mod.
I don't...
I have no idea, actually. I'm just saying words. World of Warcraft. We're almost done with this list, by the way. Warcraft, I actually did get into. I don't know if I played the specific World of Warcraft.
So World of Warcraft is the online version
of Warcraft. Yeah.
So I'm going to go back to Roblox here real quick because I'm reading the Google AI overview. As of early 2026, reports have emerged regarding disturbing user-generated content on Roblox that recreates real-world mass shootings, including the 2012 Sandy Hook Elementary School tragedy. Again, this is from the AI overview on Google. The simulations reportedly allow users to act as the shooter with detailed, gory environments that include the names of the real victims.
Dude, why would you want to do that?
Because deranged people go here and they play these fantasies, and then they can't discern between reality and this sick fantasy.
That's really boring.
These games were highlighted in early 2026, including on the Sean Ryan Show podcast, prompting intense backlash. Roblox has stated they have a zero-tolerance policy for such content, with officials noting that specific reported games were removed within minutes. But they were there.
Mm-hmm. Last couple really quick here. League of Legends. I don't even know this game. Brad, yes?
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, I've played it.
LOL.
Yeah? And then Minecraft. That's the end of the list.
Yep, played
Minecraft,
both
of
of
course,
those.
is the number one.
Minecraft's in our house. Never
Yeah.
played it. Let's talk to Dory Murdoch and Senator Eric Schmidt in the 1 o'clock hour.
A former FBI director back in court. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. James Comey just making his initial appearance in a second federal indictment, accused of threatening the president with a social media post showing 8647 written in seashells. He did not enter a plea, but has said he's still innocent after a previous unrelated case was tossed out by a judge. Comey's attorney telling a federal judge today he plans to file motions claiming vindictive and selective prosecution. Federal prosecutors file new information about the man accused of trying to kill the president at a dinner event Saturday ahead of a detention hearing tomorrow.
The Justice Department released 2 pictures Cole Allen appears to have taken of himself, in which they describe what is featured, including what Allen is wearing, as well as a viewable leather bag in which investigators found ammunition later on, a shoulder holster, a sheathed knife, pliers, and wire cutters. The document federal prosecutors submitted ahead of Thursday's detention hearing adds that at 8:13 p.m., Allen visited the presidential Schedule Civic Tracker webpage. 20 minutes later, he's believed to have tried to run through the magnetometers outside the ballroom and was tackled by Secret Service.
Fox's Jessica Rosenthal. Allen is charged with 3 counts, including attempted assassination of the president. President Trump plans to extend a U.S. blockade of Iranian ports until a deal is reached to address nuclear concerns, telling Axios the blockade is somewhat more effective than the bombing, as War Secretary Pete Hegseth defends Operation Epic Fury.
President Trump, unlike other presidents, has had the courage to ensure Iran never gets a nuclear weapon, and he's ironclad in that.
Rejecting Democrat questions about the success of U.S. strikes at a House hearing on the Pentagon's record budget request. A Fox News alert from the Fed, just leaving interest rates alone again. 3rd pause in a row, with inflation recently hitting a 2-year high. This likely to be the final meeting led by Jerome Powell, his term as chair ending next month. Earlier today, a Senate committee advancing nominee Kevin Warsh. America's listening to Fox News.
If you want unlimited talk, text, and data on a crazy fast network, Big Wireless will sell it to you right now for as little as $70 a month. Or you can buy it from Pure Talk for half of that. I'm talking about unlimited talk, text, and unlimited data for just $34.99 a month. Stop paying the big guys twice what you need to. Dial pound 250, say my name. That's pound 250 micro to switch to Pure Talk, where the savings are truly unlimited.
My name is Christine, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, was a healthy 34-year-old, and 3 months later, he was gone. Thankfully, he had life insurance. Ethos made it so easy. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. 100% online, no medical exam. Life insurance didn't take away the loss, but it did give us the space to just grieve.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/save. Ethos.com/save. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
By wokeism, one means, just like racism on the basis of sex and gender and other matters, which, DEI is simply racism rebranded. Then yes, I'm against racism and sexism, no matter who it's directed against. It is entirely possible to be racist against white people or black people or Asians or anyone else, and we should really accept no racism or sexism in any form, no matter what it's called. DEI and wokeism essentially advocate racism and sexism. That is wrong. They're also anti-meritocratic. So we should really, in my view, have a meritocratic society where people succeed as a function of their abilities and how hard they work. That should be the only way that people succeed, not through some arbitrary measures that are discriminatory. So we need a meritocratic society, and we need freedom of speech. And freedom of speech is only relevant if people are allowed, if people you don't like are allowed to say things you don't like. That is the only time freedom of speech is relevant.
There you have Elon Musk, maybe one of the smartest people, if not the smartest person on the face of the planet, talking about how we need to have a meritocracy, and we need to be in a position where you succeed on your merit, not on some sort of predetermined classification that is elevated just because that classification exists. Our YouTube poll for today: have DEI policies and anti-racism education affected the level of racism in the United States? Yes, lowered it. Yes, increased it. Or no effect. We'd love to know your thoughts on that. When we get to our guest, we're speaking with DeRoy Murdoch because it's Wednesday, nationally syndicated columnist, Project 21 ambassador, and Fox News contributor. DeRoy, welcome back to the show. It's great to have you with us.
Great to be with you again, Annie.
I do want to get to your piece in the Daily Signal, but we asked this daily poll, and I wanted to give you the opportunity to give us your thoughts on this. DEI policies have, I don't know if you would agree with this statement, maybe became a thing when Hope and Change came on the scene in the mid-2000s with Barack Obama, but we're getting close to being about 20 years into this project of DEI, of anti-racism, critical race theory. And I'm wondering if you think it's affected the level of racism in the United States.
I think it has, and I think it probably goes back before then. I mean, we've been doing racial preferences in education and contracting and so on, probably going back to this, 1970s or so, when Richard Nixon, of all people, started the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission and started a lot of the set-aside programs, that sort of thing. And I think, unfortunately, they, certainly over the last decade or so, I think they've exacerbated racism in this country and have said if you want to get into a school or you want to get a government contract or you want to get hired at a particular government agency, whatever it is, it sure helps if you're a minority. It doesn't help if you're you're white, that sort of thing. And all that does is create racial tension, gets people fighting, gets people yelling at each other, and that's not good at all. I do agree that we should be based on merit, and people sometimes say, well, it's racist to believe meritocracy. Well, when you say that, you're basically saying that you don't believe blacks and Hispanics and other minorities can make it on the merits, which to me sounds pretty racist. If you want to help people make it on the merits, then you do things like school choice, you do things like better job training, you give people an opportunity to learn what they need in order to compete with others. And that certainly goes back, I think, square one is making sure people get the education they need so they can compete against other folks who might be more advantaged or privileged or have more resources, whatever it might be. And I think school choice is the way to level that playing field, and the sooner we get serious about that, the better. Although obviously the teachers' unions and then the left seem to have zero interest in that sort of thing, unfortunately.
Man, yeah, from your lips to God's ears. Dory Murdoch speaking with us right now. Your piece in the Daily Signal, the House should fatten the bony reconciliation bill. Of course, this article being published a little bit earlier on April 24th, I'm thinking about the Supreme Court ruling today that said that the race-based gerrymandering of Louisiana is not an accurate application of how districts can be drawn. There is so much at stake with this next midterm election. And while the Republicans who have the majority in the House and the Senate right now are looking to get this reconciliation bill done, I kind of wonder what the Republicans would do if they'd get more done, even if they had a larger majority.
Yeah, well, these guys just don't seem to have anywhere of the level of hunger or focus or energy that the Democrats do. I know if the Democrats right now, if we had Hakeem Jeffries as Speaker of the House and Chuck Schumer as Senate Majority Leader with the same number of seats that the GOP has now, I can't imagine that they would do a reconciliation bill and only put two little tiny bits of spending in there. I mean, namely the salaries for people at ICE and Customs and Border Patrol, which has been cut off as part of this now 72 or 73 day, 10-week partial shutdown at DHS. I'm all for these people getting paid. That's a good thing. And if reconciliation is what finally gets them paid, fine. But you can only do 2 or 3 reconciliation bills per year. They're very difficult. They're very complicated. And so if you have a reconciliation bill, you don't just put 2 little bits of spending in there. You load that thing up with things like a modified Save America Act that has some fiscal aspects, whether it be spending, helping people get free birth certificates, as you and I have discussed, getting free photo ID. If states don't cooperate, I imagine the state of Illinois probably, under Governor Pritzker, is probably going to look at the Save America Act and laugh and say, we're not going to do that. Okay, fine, we're going to fine you $10 million a day. You don't implement this, that's $3.65 billion a year. And I think even J.P. Pritzker at some point would say that's a lot of money. I guess we'll knuckle under and implement this thing. So if you have the Save America Act actually spending money, collecting money, it becomes a fiscal vehicle, and therefore it qualifies for reconciliation, or at least you can make an easier argument for that. So I've described what John Thune has done with this reconciliation bill with almost nothing in it, a bit like a Boeing 777 with 2 passengers and 362 empty seats. It's an absurd way to run an airline. It's an absurd way to run the Senate. And what Mike Johnson and the GOP House should do is put in things like, as I say, modified Save America Act, put in tax cuts like a corporate tax at 15%, taking some of the savings from DOGE and making those permanent as part of the budget. I would put something in there about the census for the 2030 census, saying that, yes, we will go back to asking people, are you a citizen? And if you are a citizen, we'll count you for apportionment, we'll count you for number of electoral college votes in each state, we'll count you for how much federal money for aid for emergencies or whatever else the state's allowed to get. If you're illegal alien, we're not going to count you for that. You're not going to be part of this. And this will destroy the Democrats' plan to have illegal aliens around and have them counted in the census, and therefore be able to say, okay, you have 1 million illegal aliens in your state. Okay, you basically get 1 or 2 congressional U.S. House seats to represent them. And, of course, those become electoral college seats every 4 years when we vote for president. We need to put an end to that. So you put that into reconciliation bill, send that back to the Senate along with the salaries for the ICE people and the people at Border Patrol. At that point, the Senate Republicans have to decide, okay, are they then going to vote that down and basically make those people at ICE and Border Patrol get no more money for another 2 or 3 weeks, however long it takes, or they're going to say, good, this gives the money for these hardworking public servants, and it also gives us major parts of the Republican and conservative agenda, vote on it, have President Donald J. Trump sign it, and make major steps forward in getting the GOP America First agenda enacted. I don't know why these guys are doing this microscopic, piddling, anemic approach. It's just, I think, very much reflective of the way the GOP tends to run things, which is to be, as meek and shy and polite as possible, and somehow try to be nice to Democrats. And of course, it'd be nice if they did that and the Democrats return the favor. But when the Democrats are in office, out come the meat axes and the cleavers, and we all run like hell.
Jory Murdoch speaking with us right now, nationally syndicated columnist. His latest piece here in the Daily Signal. You say House should fatten the bony reconciliation bill. Jory, will they?
I believe that Mike Johnson, the Speaker, doesn't want to do this because he just wants to get the ICE and Border Patrol guys paid as quickly as possible. I'm sympathetic to that. But look, there's no reason they can't put extra things in this tonight, spend 24 hours in the House, add these things on as amendments. If the GOP House members are there, they'll put in most of this stuff. And frankly, I just think if the Senate gets this back, they will say, all right, we can pass this with a lot of stuff we like anyway, maybe even some parts of the Save America Act they can get through finally with 51 votes or 50 votes in a J.D. Vance breaking the tie, and actually get some things accomplished. Or they can say, well, even though we like the stuff in it, even though we like the ICE and the Border Patrol money, there's a bunch of other stuff in here we don't like, and so we're going to kill this bill. And then it's no longer the Democrats who are depriving the people at ICE and the Border Patrol of money to pay their bills. It's not going to be the Republicans taking the blame for that. And I find it very hard to believe the GOP is going to do something that's self-destructive. So if I were Mike Johnson, I'd say, look, we're not slaves of the Senate. We're the U.S. House. We do what we want. And we're going to put stuff in here we like, and we're going to send it back to the Senate. Say, all right, you guys either vote for this or you vote it down, and then you guys get to be the ones who own the shutdown.
Jory Murdoch with us. Before we let you go, Jory, I wanted to give you the opportunity to comment on the events of this weekend, a third attempt on President Trump's life, as well as, who knows how many other people, press included, the cabinet. It's like everybody was there. A lot of people are moving this into a both sides conversation. Are Republicans as responsible for this climate as Democrats are, and vice versa? What's your 30,000-foot view, your take after this past weekend about, what do we do tomorrow when yesterday looks as it does?
Sure thing. Yeah, look, the left like to say, oh, both sides do it. This is a bipartisan problem. No, it's not. I mean, President Trump has been, basically, almost killed on 3 occasions. Who knows if this gunman had gotten through the doors, he could have opened fire and killed President Trump. Opened fire and killed cabinet members, prominent journalists, etc. Obviously, in Butler, Pennsylvania, President Trump actually did get shot as the bloody ear. We've all seen that horrible footage. I don't remember anybody ever taking a shot at Joe Biden for 4 years. Barack Obama was there for 8 years. I don't think anybody opened fire on him. Bill Clinton was there for 8 years. I don't remember anybody ever opening fire on that guy. So it just seems like Republicans are the victims of the left's violence. This also happened with Steve Scalise when a former Bernie Sanders supporter showed up at congressional baseball game, opened fire, hit Steve Scalise. He almost died. He was in very bad shape, and I think he's still wounded by that and has trouble walking and so forth. You had the violence that has occurred against other conservatives. You had Charlie Kirk murdered back in September. You've had situations not quite violent, but certainly confrontational, where you've had people like Ted Cruz and Sarah Huckabee Sanders not even be able to go out to dinner without people coming in and screaming at them in their faces. I've never seen any Republican or conservative go up to any Democrat senator or congressman or cabinet member and find him in a restaurant and scream and yell at them and holler at him. Brett Kavanaugh had somebody on his lawn with a Glock and plastic ties who was thinking about kidnapping his family. This guy actually, I think, flew in from California all the way to Maryland, where I believe Kavanaugh lives. I don't ever remember hearing about Elena Kagan or Sotomayor having to worry about Republicans walking around on their property with guns. So the left like to say, oh, it's a two-way street. No, it's not a two-way street. You may find the occasional unusual instance of somebody on the right doing this sort of thing, but if it's not a 95-5 thing, it might be a 90-10 thing at a minimum. But you look at the political violence in this country, and it's very much, unfortunately, a phenomenon of the political left, not the political right.
Well, we have to figure out a way forward, and it's very apparent that those are the 3 times we know that the president's life has been threatened that are public. Lord knows how many times they've mitigated threats against his life or those that are associated with him that we never hear about. It's very sad.
Yep, that's probably correct. Very sad.
Joy, thank you for being with us today. We appreciate and encourage people to check out your piece in the Daily Signal. We'll talk to you again next week.
Okay, very good, Annie. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye. It's Republican House should fatten Senate GOP's bony reconciliation bill in the Daily Signal. Go check that out and read DeRoy's piece. He's a great writer. Let's take a break. Reminder, Senator Eric Schmidt in about 12 minutes right now, so keep it right here on the Annie Frey Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
You. 42% of Missouri fourth graders can barely read. 42%. It's the worst result in 20 years. If kids can't read by third grade, they fall behind in school and many never catch up. But other states have provided a roadmap for success. Missouri needs one universal reading test for all third graders and one clear statewide standard for what it means to pass that test. A struggling reader who still can't read after extra help and a second chance at the test should repeat third grade with some exemptions. We also need to end the outdated 3Qing method, which encourages guessing instead of reading, and require teachers to be trained in the science of reading. In Mississippi and Indiana, test scores jumped up dramatically after these reforms, and Missouri can do the same. Missouri children deserve to become confident, capable readers, and strong early literacy reforms can make it happen. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by the Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
According to MasterCard, nearly half of small businesses have been a victim of a cyber attack. As cybercrime escalates, ThrottleNet is calling on businesses to strengthen their security posture by taking a free online IT security audit right from your desk. This 3-minute online assessment provides an immediate score to see security gaps and vulnerabilities in your network. For 26 years, ThrottleNet has supported your business IT everything right here in St. Louis. In fact, no client of ThrottleNet has ever paid a ransom. So visit throttlenet.com/971 to take the free assessment today.
Lifestyles Unlimited is a real estate education group that gives you the roadmap and resources to start building income through real estate. You'll learn practical strategies for using investment properties to create extra income and make informed decisions, one step at a time. Join today for just $297. That's a 60% savings off the regular price of our real estate education program. Text radio to 88007. That's RADIO to 88007. Presented by Lifestyles Unlimited.
Summer is on the way, or should I say the heat in St. Louis, it's on its way. It'll be here before we even know it. If you haven't had your air conditioners checked and set up and ready to go for this cooling season, or if you were told you might need a new one, or you just think this is the time of the year, this year is the time to just go ahead and replace it. Prices are down. 0% financing is available. It's still the best time to call me. Don't put it off. One easy number in Missouri and Illinois. It is 314-293-2600. Again, that's 314-293-2600 in Missouri and Illinois, or on the internet, bartinman.com. That is Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
The Retirement Advisory Group. I'm encouraging you to go look and go to theretirementkey.com. I got to meet with these people last night, and I just love them. They're so good at what they do, and they care so much about you. And I want you to understand when you reach out to the Retirement Advisory Group, when you contact them at 314-993-9494, you're going to be in really good hands. They're going to listen to you, but you're going to be able to hear what their expertise is, and their expertise is really you. If you're 59 and a half or older, did you know that you can roll over your company retirement plan tax-free and create a worry-free retirement? That's what it's really all about, isn't it? If you'd like to learn strategies that give you market growth but keep you from having to participate in market losses at the same time, you want the Retirement Advisory Group. Most people who meet with the Retirement Advisory Group have the same question: what can we do with the money that we've got right now so that we can live comfortably for the rest of our lives? Well, that's the question that they can help you answer, but you do got to connect with them. at 314-993-9494. 314-993-9494. They'll help you build your own personalized retirement income plan, and they'll help you generate income for the rest of your life. 314-993-9494, retirementkey.com.
Don't let tax refund worries hold you back. File now with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They'll find every credit and deduction to help you get every refund dollar you deserve, or your money back. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
The Annie Frey Show is St. Louis conservative.
So the president has the Artemis II crew in his office. It's also the Oval Office. In the Oval Office right now, and we're going to dip in and listen a little bit to what's going on there.
Of the asphalt, and but not anymore. It's really strong. And you know what they do? One of the things they do that's so important is for our military offense and defense. And a lot of people say, well, is it worth it? It's really worth it, because what's happened militarily, you see what we're doing militarily, a lot of that comes from space. So it's been pretty great. Good question. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have two questions for you. First, on the topic of space, do you have an update on the UFO files and when we're going to be seeing those?
Well, I think we're going to be releasing as much as we can in the near future. For some reason, and I guess it's just a reason that's been in the minds of people for a long time, and that is they want to find out about the UFOs and anything having to do with UFO or related material, and we're going to be releasing a lot of things that we have, and I think some of it's going to be very interesting to people. I've interviewed people, my first term primarily, but I interviewed some pilots, very solid people, and they said they saw things that you wouldn't believe. So you're going to be reading about it. Yes.
Sir, you spoke to Vladimir Putin not too long ago. Did you talk to him
today?
Did you talk to him about the progress in the space area, and what else did you talk about?
I didn't talk about space. No, I talked about Ukraine, and I talked a little bit about Iran. I talked about a few different subjects, mostly about Ukraine, and we had a very good conversation. I think we're going to come up with a solution relatively quickly, I hope.
What does he want?
I think he'd like to see a solution, I can tell you, and that's good.
What involvement does he want to have in the Iran situation?
He told me he'd like to be involved with the enrichment if he can help us get it. I said I'd much rather have you be involved with ending the war with Ukraine. To me, that would be more important, because we're gonna have that. Look, we're not going to let Iran have a nuclear weapon, and we've knocked out their Navy, we've knocked out their Air Force, we've knocked out their anti-aircraft, everything, apparatus, everything they have, their radar, they have very little left. And they have some missiles, a small percentage. They have a small percentage of missile-making facilities. We knocked out about 80% of them. The rest could come very quickly if we don't make a deal. They're not going to have a nuclear weapon. They know it. And just about everybody else does. And so we talked about that a little bit. He doesn't want to see them have a nuclear weapon either. But I had a long talk with President Putin. I suggested a little bit of a ceasefire, and I think he might do that. He might announce something having to do with that. Did he announce it yet?
No, but I was wondering, I was just going to ask you.
No, I asked him about, even if it's a little ceasefire, there's so many people being killed, it's so ridiculous.
Thank you, Mr. President. In light of today's Supreme Court ruling on the Voting Rights Act, do you want Republican states in the South to look at redrawing congressional districts before the midterms?
You have to tell me, when did the ruling come out? I've been with the astronauts. I've been with contractors, because we're trying to get the ballroom built ahead of schedule. It's right on schedule. It's ahead of schedule now. I want to keep it that way.
Came out today,
and I was also with commissioning some people, but one of David Warrington's son. I don't know, you know David. Everybody knows David. He's got this incredible son. So he was just sworn in. So we had other things. Tell me about what happened.
Well, some think that the ruling could create more Republican-held congressional seats in the South.
That's good.
Yeah. Would you
That's
want
the
them
kind of ruling I like.
Would you want them to pursue
When did that
that?
happen?
Well, the Supreme Court ruled on it this morning.
Really? Is that right? Tell me about the ruling.
Well, I have a question.
This is CNN fake news.
On your call with President Putin today, do you think the war in Iran ends first or the war in Ukraine?
Well, we talked more about the war in Ukraine, but he would like to be of help. I said, before you help me, I want to end your war. So we had a good talk. I've known him a long time. I think he was ready to make a deal a while ago. I think some people made it difficult for him to make a deal, but we talked more about Ukraine.
But which war do you think ends first?
That's an interesting question. You know, coming from you, that's very interesting. Which war would end first? I don't know. Maybe they're on a similar timetable. I think Ukraine, militarily, they're defeated. Okay, you wouldn't know that by reading the fake news, but militarily, look, their Navy. So they had 159 ships. Every ship is right now underwater. Typically, that's pretty good. What do you think, Jared? I mean, it's going to be hard for them to make a naval comeback. Okay, now they have an Air Force. Every one of their planes has been shot down or has been decimated. They have missiles, about 82% are gone, and they have drones, and most of them are gone. Most of the factories are mostly gone, and we have tremendous anti-drone equipment now, between lasers and that new, very special machine gun that knocks them out of the air like flies. And we use bullets instead of $1 million, missiles to knock out a $30,000 drone. So I would say Jared would tell me that with everything you just heard, typically we're in pretty good shape. And in addition, their economy is crashing. Their, as you know, their money, they call it their money, they don't have a name for it. Their money is valueless. They've got inflation that nobody's ever seen before. Other than that, I think they're doing quite well. If you read the New York Times, you'd say they're doing wonderfully because it's fake news. Or if you watch CNN, I mean, you cover it all the time. You think they're doing well. Do you think they're doing well where they have no Navy, no Air Force, no anti-aircraft apparatus, other than what they may have put there? They may have brought in some light stuff during the ceasefire, and we know exactly where it is, so it'll be knocked out within the first 15 minutes.
Caitlin Collins from CNN there asking a question that the president mocked her for asking the question and said, that's an interesting question, especially coming from you, CNN. What will end first, the Iran war or the Ukraine war? And he said there that they could end, maybe they're on the same timeline. That would be pretty incredible. So we'll see what happens next with this presidential. He's got the Artemis II crew standing behind him. That was pretty interesting. And they're answering questions in the there with the press in the Oval Office. We are going to take a break because when we come back, a very important guest here on the Annie Frey Show, Senator Eric Schmitt. We're going to ask him about the Supreme Court ruling that you heard the president reacting to a little bit there regarding those congressional maps. We played the MS Now clip a little bit earlier in the show, and they were panicking, saying this could affect 50 seats. I think there might be some inflation involved in that 50 number, but you know Democrats, right? Let's take a break. We'll talk with Senator Eric Schmitt on the Annie Frey Show next. Point Pest Control, point with an E, pointpestcontrol.com. I want to remind you that your pest problem of the critter kind, of course, is going to be solved with Point Pest Control services. I'm a premier service plan subscriber. I'd encourage you to do that as well. I pay quarterly, and they come to my home. They treat the inside of my home. They treat the outside of my home. Sometimes if I don't feel like there's a need to come on to the inside, they'll just take care of everything around the perimeter, and we don't have pests in our home. And the thing that I appreciate so much about Point Pest Control and the other people using their services residentially and the other people using their services commercially, tons of businesses here in the St. Louis bi-state region use Point Pest Control to keep their businesses pest-free. The thing I appreciate about the way that they treat, it's safe for my family, for my kids, for my pets, but not for the pests. So if you are looking for pest services, call the very best in the business at 636-798-0023. Point with an E, pointpestcontrol.com.
has a frequency. 97.1 FM Talk. 97.1 FM Talk. St. Louis Conservative.
If anybody in this country thinks, especially what happened over the past couple of years with respect to President Trump, that it is okay for anybody to threaten the President of the United States, that it is okay to threaten the President of the United States and then have the media or others say, well, that's not serious, then we have a bigger problem than I even imagined in this country. Of course it's serious when you threaten the President of the United States, and anybody that tries to put forward some narrative that this is just about seashells or something to the contrary is missing the point. You cannot threaten the President of the United States. That's not my decision. That's Congress's decision in a law that they passed. And so, yes, of course this is a serious case.
That the acting Attorney General Todd Blanche sitting there talking with CBS Mornings about the indictment that came down yesterday regarding James Comey. Of all of the stories that we're trying to cover right now, I did not have a James Comey indictment on my bingo card yesterday. Yes, but here we are. So let's take a little bit of a flashback. Do you remember when the 8647 thing came out?
Yeah, last year.
And, it was like, excuse me, what are you doing? I made fun of it yesterday. Just in general, the FBI director, former FBI director would see that and be like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know.
Yeah, this was a natural occurrence on the beach, and I just took a picture because I thought it was pretty.
I don't know that he ever said it was natural occurrence, but he might as well have. This is a flashback. James Comey and Colbert, it's all fun and games.
Here, but is this Instagram?
Instagram.
You grammed this. You were walking down the beach. What happened? You were walking down the beach.
Big smile on Comey's
and you
face.
saw this on the beach?
Yeah, my wife and I, Patrice, were walking on the beach and saw those numbers in shells on the beach. And
you didn't do this. Somebody else did this.
Yeah, somebody else did it. We were on a walk preparing for this week, the rollout of my book.
Yep.
She looked at it and said, why'd someone put their address in the sand?
All right.
And then we stood at it, trying to figure out what it was. And she'd long been a server in restaurants. And she said, you know what I think it is?
Yeah.
I think it's a reference to restaurants when you would 86 something in a restaurant.
Right, it's off the menu.
Yeah. I said, no, I remember when I was a kid, you'd say 86 to get out of a place. This place stinks, let's 86 it.
Right, I was a bar.
It's like Barney Fife talking like, yo, I wonder what that thing is there. Maybe standing over shells on a seashore going, I wonder what that is.
Mm-hmm.
Talking through it. Is this how he ran the FBI? Give me a break.
You would 86 a customer if they were getting drunk. Like, let's 86 them. Let's give them a low-proof alcohol, something like that. Yeah.
And so I said, I think it's a clever political message. And she said, you should take a picture of it. I said, sure.
And
then she said, you should Instagram that. And boom.
So it's all her fault. Thanks, Comey. He's a giver there in that regard.
James Comey's wife said, this fruit looks beautiful. And if we eat it, we could be like God. And then she handed James the fruit, and he said, well, I guess it looks pretty good. Yeah, sure, I'll take a bite.
The natural conclusion here, James Comey is responsible for the fall of humanity. So all of this materializes into this indictment. As we said, we did not have this on our bingo card yesterday, but the Department of Justice and the acting Attorney General, they sure did.
Today, a grand jury sitting in the Eastern District of North Carolina returned an indictment against James Comey on 2 counts. The first count is that on or about May 15th of last year, he knowingly and willfully making a threat to take the life of and to inflict bodily harm upon the President of the United States. Count 2, same day, May 15th, 2025, that the defendant, James Comey, knowingly and willfully transmitting in interstate commerce a communication that contained a threat to kill the President of the United States. Both of these counts carry a maximum term of imprisonment of 10 years. So I think it's fair to say that threatening the life of anybody is dangerous.
So there you have the acting Attorney General saying that this indictment, this charge against James Comey, carries a 10-year prison sentence potentially. what's next? And then last night we saw more coming from the Department of Justice. They seem to have put their efforts in overdrive. Let's get to our favorite Senator Eric Schmidt back on with us, a senator from Missouri. Senator, thank you so much for the time. I know you're a busy guy, and we're grateful that you got a little time for us here on the Annie Frey Show.
Great to be with you.
So talk to me about your reaction to the Comey indictment from yesterday. I don't know how much information you had on that. It kind of surprised us. Is this an effective use of the Department of Justice's time? Does James Comey deserve to answer for that Instagram post?
Well, I suppose I'm kind of more interested in the other indictments I think that will come. I think that this conspiracy, I mean, you got to remember, James Comey lied to Congress about leaking classified information to the press. James Comey is a bad actor. He was also part of the effort to get a FISA warrant to spy on President Trump when he was a candidate in 2016, then was part of the effort to launder that phony intelligence, even though they knew it wasn't true, to try to sideline his presidency. And then, leading to the first impeachment of President Trump, which has now been, Tulsi Gabbard released some new information. So this guy's a bad actor, and he was the director of the FBI. And so my hope is, quite frankly, that on this, whether it's Comey, Clapper, Brennan, this effort that began in 2016 leads to indictments. There has to be these people have to be held to account for this. You can't spy on a candidate, try to sideline a presidency with fake information that was made up, and then try to, derail the will of the American people. That's exactly what was happening, and Comey was right in the center of all of it.
And the story is, the context of what you're talking about, Senator Schmidt, is so big, because what you're articulating here is something that happened at the very beginning of Donald Trump's political career. And knowing that Donald Trump has been under duress from a swamp that has existed to keep him out or keep him away from being able to enforce the power that the United States voters bestowed upon him. And then to get all the way to where James Comey, he's in the radio business, on the beach is not a good place to be. That's when you are looking for your next job. You've got James Comey on the beach, and 8647 comes up. And it's not an innocent message that somebody as powerful as James Comey is delivering. Third attempt on President Trump's life this weekend. It's all connected.
Yeah, and like it didn't stop there. They tried to prevent him in 2020 with the FBI hiding the Hunter Biden laptop, and then of course when President Trump was out of office, the raid on his home, the coordinated attempt to try to throw him in jail for the rest of his life. I mean, this is third world country stuff. And yes, and then this weekend now, a third attempt on his life. And the rhetoric that's being used by the left here is just, it's Nazi, it's Gestapo, it's stormtroopers, it's existential threat to democracy. I mean, we were voting on something, I had to listen to Chuck Schumer give his remarks just like 10 minutes ago. It makes you want to throw up listening to this guy, but he still uses this extremist language. And look, they're obsessed with Trump. It's Trump derangement syndrome. It's metastasized. It's become part of their DNA now. They can't shake it. It drives everything they do, everything they don't do. And they have a real political violence problem on the left now. And I'm not playing this both sides game. I'm just not, because that's not where it's come. It's not a both sides issue right now. First of all, I condemn all political violence, but when you have 25% of people who describe themselves as very liberal, think of the people watching MSNBC, believe that political violence is justified, okay? Or over 50% of those on the left who believe that it is at least somewhat justifiable to murder President Trump, they have a problem. Now, on the very conservative side, it's 3%. That's 3% too many, but it's not the same thing. And not just in poll numbers, but in actions, whether it's Luigi, this leftist guy who assassinated a United Healthcare CEO, or the Charlie Kirk assassination that happened in broad daylight. This is not like ancient history. This is all within like the last year.
Yeah.
And of course, President Trump and Butler at the golf course, now in Washington, they don't know how to pump the brakes. They don't want to pump the brakes, and they should, because it's a dangerous, dangerous time.
Yeah. And I'm very keyed into listening to all the people who speak on behalf of the Democrat Party. They're trying to influence the Democrat Party. They're trying to influence voters to consider Democrat policies, although it's usually not about policy. In the reaction to this weekend, what I'm hearing the leftists say in public with frequency is one of two things. it was staged, which is just outrageous. And the second thing is that it's both sides. They're never looking directly into their side of the aisle saying, you've really got to knock this off. I haven't seen anybody from the left come out and just maybe John Fetterman. I'll take that back. Maybe Senator Fetterman has been that voice. But until the left starts to take care of their own business, I'm really worried about the president's safety. Yours, if you're around the president, I mean, you're associated and a supporter of his. I don't know how we move forward like this.
Yeah, I mean, we have to kind of get back to this idea that we resolve these issues through debate, through speech, through elections at the ballot box. But there is this kind of assassination culture on the left right now, and it's getting worse. It's not getting better. I hate to say it. I mean, I will say, I encourage all your followers and your listeners to follow me on social media, on X, on Facebook. I mean, I do not look at comments all the time. I do engage. I do think that's part of my job. Today, a lot of replies on posts today are 8647. I don't know who these people are, but they go on the Facebook page and they know exactly what that means. They know exactly what it means. I think Joe Biden was one of the worst presidents in the history of our country. Never in 1,000 years would I advocate for anything bad happening to him. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know where this is coming from, but it's growing. It's kind of, honestly, in the 60s, there was this sort of weather underground, these leftists that firebombed and created a lot of violence. They were never really adequately punished, Annie. They ended up in professorships at so-called prestigious universities, a lot of these radicals. And now we're in the second, third generation of all this, where a lot of this rhetoric, a lot of this thinking has become part of sort of the mainstream on the other side of the aisle. Now, look, do all Democrats feel that way? Of course not. I have Democrat friends, believe it or not, who don't believe that. But there's something happening.
Yeah.
There's something happening on the left where this is becoming much more acceptable. And I don't know if it's just this rage they feel from TDS or whatever, but it's just they got to knock it off and stop trying to kill our president.
Well, well said. And I blame my profession, the media, for a lot of it, because a lot of these people are emotional and they've been lied to. So they're believing a reality that actually doesn't exist. And
Annie, one last point.
Yeah.
If you read this manifesto, the stuff that's out there, it's of the guy from this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like a monologue, like on Morning Joe. You know what I mean? Like it's all the catchphrases that are constantly being used, and so anyway, I would hope that this would be a point of reflection. I've not seen that yet.
Yeah. Is there any sort of, you've been the Attorney General of the state of Missouri and you're in the Senate right now. This is a very strong test of the First Amendment. You're talking about the people in your comments saying 8647. Is there any sort of line that needs to be drawn here, or where do you stand on that?
I mean, I'm pretty much, I'm a big believer in the First Amendment, and people can say, crazy things, and I'll defend the right to say crazy things. I think that actually when that stuff's out there, it's an opportunity to win the argument because other people see how crazy these things can be, right?
Yeah.
But I do think that we should recognize, like, the thing that's bothers me this week, there was a reporter in the hallway after my vote coming here was sort of getting this whole, well, what about this? And what about this? And it's just like, look, can we just actually be factual for a moment about what's happened in the last 2 years? I play on the congressional baseball team, right? I wasn't here when that happened, but the shooter said, is this where the Republicans practice? He tried to mow down 20 plus Republicans because they were Republicans. We mentioned Charlie Kirk. We mentioned President Trump. We've got all the violence from the left wing or from the George Floyd riots. I have a list here that I rattled off. The Lee Zeldin stabbing attempt, the Covenant school shooting in Nashville, the 2 Trump assassinations, the Abundant Life Christian school shooting, United Healthcare CEO murder, Teslas burned, keyed, and damaged, the murders at the Israeli embassy, the Minneapolis Catholic school shooting, the anti-white Charlotte in North Carolina stabbing, the attempted Utah News State firebombing, the ICE facilities firebombed, the 1,300% increase in attacks on ICE agents. I mean, this is all left-wing violence. Like, not from the 1960s, but like in the last year or two. So it's an issue, and I think we just have to be bold and call it out.
Yes,
And
100%.
unless we talk about it honestly, we're just going to pretend like it's not happening, and it is.
Well, you need to keep calling it out. I've seen you doing that here in the last few days, and I appreciate that. I do encourage people to follow you on your social media accounts. I want to shift to the Supreme Court ruling today because in conjunction with what you're saying right now, this ruling from the Supreme Court, there's a part of me that goes, this is going to piss the left off even more. And they tend to, the very fringe part of them tend to resort to violence if they can't handle whatever the truth of the news is of the day. The Fox News reporters, the Supreme Court on Wednesday limited the scope of a Voting Rights Act provision that restricts how states draw districts affecting minority voters, constraining states' use of race as a factor when drawing congressional maps ahead of the 2026 midterms. I mean, those midterms are right around the corner. This is an incredibly consequential ruling by the Supreme Court.
It is. And what the Supreme Court said was basically you can't create a congressional district for the purpose of racial gerrymandering, right? You can't just that would be illegal. Your response to what you perceive as discrimination is to discriminate. You can't, that's illegal in this country. And so finally, as the Voting Rights Act, as it's been applied to a lot of these congressional districts, are likely to get thrown out because they're overtly racist. And it's a big ruling, and it's going to shake things up, particularly in certain regions, particularly in the South. There could be a 12-vote switch eventually. I don't know that it'll all happen in 26. It could be in 28 and beyond, or after the next census. But what it does, and I posted about this just about an hour ago on X, it does reveal the kind of astroturfing that the left has had to prop up some political power they've gained over the last, however many decades, when you have these kind of phony maps that are racist, that they were able to kind of prop up votes on. Illegal immigrants who are counted in the census. They're not supposed to vote. They are voting, but they're not supposed to vote. But they're counted in the census. So how many congressional seats does a state like California get from that?
Yeah.
Or New York? And then, of course, laundering money through Act Blue, where there's investigations ongoing right now about foreign money basically being laundered through Act Blue to political candidates. So if you actually took care of those three things, you didn't have illegal immigrants counted in the census, you didn't have these gerrymandered for racial reason districts, and you cut the fraud through Act Blue, I mean, who knows what the numbers would be for Republicans? And so I do think the good news here is there's some structural things that are happening that bode well for a free and fair election process for our republic. And let the chips fall where they may.
Yeah.
We may lose seats. I don't know. We may win seats. I don't know. But this idea that you're propping it up through these means now that have been deemed illegal by the Supreme Court, those days are over.
I mean, to wrap this all up, Senator Eric Schmidt speaking with us right now, even going back to the James Comey conversation that we started this with, you used the word astroturf. I'm trying to look at the Democrat Party, the political machine that is the Democrat Party and the bureaucracy in the swamp. What about that? What about it is real? And this is a specific question I want you to answer because I know you know President Trump very well. The people on the left who hate him, they don't know him. They don't understand him. They've been lied to. They've been deceived. Some have openly bought into it. Some of them don't know how deceptive it's been. Tell me about the man, Donald Trump. If people were to meet him for the first time today, what would you want them to know about President Trump?
Yeah, like you said, I've gotten to know him and get to play golf with him and was a Super Bowl party and see him in just different situations in the Oval Office. I've traveled with him, right? First of all, there is a real authenticity to the guy. He loves America. He loves America. You know what I mean? And so that is his North Star on this. He's also very generous. He's a consummate sort of host. And by the way, I've seen people that aren't even politically aligned with him. They go into the Oval Office. He'll show them around. He'll talk about things. I mean, I think he was on Oprah's last show. Yeah. Okay, Oprah Winfrey had Donald Trump on her last show.
Yeah.
And so he has the ability. You see him interact with athletes. You see him interact with just different people. He can go to that McDonald's. He's wearing a suit and he's this billionaire from New York, but he connects with real people because they really believe, we talked about all the things he's gone through, that he is willing to fight for them. And you can't fake that. You can't, people can spot a phony, especially in politics, and you can't fake it. And so he's just a real guy, on the golf course. Very little. I mean, there'll be some stuff, that we'll talk about that's political, but it's just, your kids and your golf game and, putting stroke. I'll just stuff
that's what
like
people talk about. Yeah. That's what you're talking
and you know
about.
what I mean? And so And so I do wish, but the reality though is, I think the Democrats, like some of the media pundits, they know that about the man. They know that he's very likable. He's very funny. I mean, I laugh all the. I mean, there are just certain things. I just sit there in the Oval Office and I laugh. And I think if you have a sense of humor, you recognize that this is a guy that is very much knows what he wants to do, is very much in charge, but also seeks opinions from others. I mean, we're talking about, like, he will literally go around and ask people's opinions, and he listens to that. I could call him, like right now, he would probably pick up the phone and we would have a conversation in the middle of the day. Now, his staff, I think it probably drives his staff nuts that he's that accessible. But he really kind of wants to know what's going on. He loves Missouri. He knows exactly what he won by in all those elections, and will ask about it all the time. So anyway, I just think there's a lot more to it. But they know how likable he can be, and they know how committed he is, and they don't want their audience to know that, because it's much harder to hate somebody if you create this caricature of, you know, Putin Hitler or Putin Hitler or whatever you want to call this guy. They've called him everything. They've tried to jail him. They've tried to bankrupt his family. And it is a sickness. Like, it is a real sickness, Annie. And it's the craziest thing I've ever seen. I don't get it, but it is what it is.
I've seen several people after the White House Correspondents' Dinner shooting situation that were in the media, maybe center, left, say that, you know, John Carl was one of them, say the president called him to check to see if he was okay. Comment after comment on his said, do not humanize this man. It's the biggest threat. If people meet the man that you're describing, that's the biggest threat to the TDS monster.
Yep. It may be the only cure. It may be the only cure for this intractable disease that's known as TDS, actually. And they know it, and they don't want to dispense the medicine, that's for sure.
Yeah. Senator Eric Schmitt, thank you for being so generous with your time. It's always good to have you with us.
Sure, anytime. Take care.
Take care. You as well. Senator Eric Schmitt, the senator from Missouri, here being very, very generous with his time here with you. Great to speak with him. On X, you can follow him at Eric_Schmitt. A reminder, it's a 2T Schmidt. There are no D's in the end of his name. So at Eric_Schmitt. He's on it, and he does engage. He is, I learn a lot of things that are going on or get immediate reaction from him and his X account right there. There's several people who I like to follow, and you kind of you can kind of circle an issue with active people who are there in D.C., and he's certainly one that helps you color in the lines quite a bit. Good to have Senator Schmitt with us. If you missed it, you can check out the Annie Frey Show podcast, and we will have that up ASAP. The Odyssey app, you stream 97.1 anywhere you go, all the time. Crystal clear connection, AUDACY. You find the Annie Frey Show on there, FREY, and 97.1 FM Talk, and of course, the whole game. Mark Cox, Brian Kilmeade, myself, Mark Reardon, and the rest of the crew, Jimmy Fela, even Ryan Wiggins on the weekend. You can stream live on the Odyssey app. We'll break now. We're going to have Ethan Sports and Local, brought to you by All Financial, in the next hour. So keep it right here. And we'll have some fun. Ryan's back from his kidney stone appointment yesterday, so he came back. That's good news. We'll have a little fun in the next hour. That YouTube live chat poll, we're asking you, and text us your thoughts at 314-241-9797. Have DEI policies and anti-racism education affected the level of racism in the United States? Lowered it, increased it, or not had an effect? We'll be right back.
Don't miss a baseball showdown at Busch Stadium when Shohei Ohtani and the LA Dodgers roll into the Lou, May 1st through the 3rd. Kick off the weekend with Friday Night Live and a must-have short-sleeve hoodie giveaway. Saturday brings a Mason Wynn bobblehead celebrating his Gold Glove Award. Then Sunday features a sleek Blade collar shirt giveaway. Big names, big matchups, and big giveaways all weekend long. Tickets at cardinals.com/promotion.
This is Mason Wynn. Get your tickets at cardinals.com.
The 1-2, and that's grounded up the middle. Diving play, Mason Wynn to his feet. He throws, he got him!
What's up, Cardinals fans? Mason Wynn here. On Saturday, May 2nd, when we face the Dodgers, you can take home the Mason Wynn Gold Glove bobblehead, presented by the Shane Company. It's got my chain, my first gold glove, my whole look, just how I rock it. Plus, a few rare all-gold baubles will be randomly mixed in for 500 lucky fans. This is one you won't want to miss. Get your tickets tickets now at cardinals.com/promotions.
HomeshieldFoundationRepairs.com. Have you called Matt Hayes at 314-271-9900 yet? He's a great guy. I think that matters when you're inviting someone into your home and then you know you're going to make an investment in Home Shield Foundation Repair to restore the investment you've made in your home. You want an expert. You want somebody who has quality service, who's going to do it right the first time, who's going to back up the work that they do, and bring in the best team in the business. Matt Hayes and Home Shield Foundation Repair have built themselves on a reputation of top quality service. If you have water in your basement, if you have cracks in the walls in your basement, maybe that you've noticed them for the first time, maybe they've grown, you want Matt Hayes at 314-271-9900. Invite him out to give you a quote. He can look at your basement. He can take care of, doing the entire inspection to make sure you understand what you're dealing with, give you the information on how to fix it. And if you hire him, do the very best job that Home Shield Foundation Repair repeatedly does. 314-271-9900, HomeshieldFoundationRepairs.com.
We've been here 30 years, 30 Christmases in this house, and we have the traditions that most families have.
That's Terry talking about her experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We did Rhino Shield 14 years ago, and the house still looks the same as the first day. Rhino Shield really worked with me to help me get just the right nice soft yellow, and it's 14 years later, and it's the same color.
The main reason Terry called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by its 25-year transferable warranty.
It just sounded wonderful that we could have the house coated with Rhino Shield and not have to worry about it again for 25 years.
Take it from Terry. Give Rhino Shield a call now for a free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
There have been neighbors that have come by and said, "Did you just have your house painted?" Because they wanted to know who the contractor was. And I said, "No, it's actually Rhino Shield."
877-25rhino.com.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-777-7777.
That's 314-777-7777.
Call with Russia's president on Lisa Brady, Fox News. President Trump just confirming what he calls a good talk with President Putin, mostly, he says, about Ukraine.
And we had a very good conversation. I think we're going to come up with a solution relatively quickly, I hope.
Also telling reporters that Putin wants to help end the conflict with Iran.
They're not going to have a nuclear weapon. They know it. And just about everybody else does. And so we talked about that a little bit. He doesn't want to see them have a nuclear weapon either.
This as a U.S. blockade of Iranian ports continues during a ceasefire aimed at forcing the regime's hand by squeezing Iran economically.
Now they have to cry uncle. That's all they have to do. Just say, we give up. We give up. But their economy is really in trouble. It's a dead economy.
The president taking questions during an Oval Office event with the 4 astronauts from the recent Artemis II mission around the far side of the moon. The president calling their bravery incredible and saying there's a shot at a moon landing during his second term. The Fed says the U.S. economy is expanding at a solid pace.
While job gains have remained low, the unemployment rate has been little changed in recent months. Inflation has moved up and is elevated, in part reflecting the recent increase in global energy prices.
Outgoing Fed Chair Jerome Powell, after a divided decision to leave interest rates unchanged for a third straight meeting, 4 officials voting against it, the most dissent since 1992. Powell just confirming he plans to remain on the Fed Board of Governors for now when his term as chairman ends next month. A suspected ISIS militant is convicted of conspiracy over the suicide bombing that killed 13 U.S. service members and more than 100 others during the U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan. The defense had argued he gave a false confession about scouting a route for the bomber. America is listening to Fox News.
If you want unlimited talk, text, and data on a crazy fast network, Big Wireless will sell it to you right now for as little as $70 a month. Or you can buy it from Pure Talk for half of that. I'm talking about unlimited talk, text, and unlimited data for just $34.99 a month. Stop paying the big guys twice what you need to. Dial pound 250, say my name. That's pound 250, micro, to switch to Pure Talk, where the savings are truly unlimited.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term.
Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Sunshine and a northwest breeze for our Wednesday afternoon. So it is a little cool for this time of year, but not bad at all. 68 for the high. Low humidity. Tonight, clear skies. Let's call it chilly overnight, 44. Thursday, sunny and nice again, 68. Friday, sunny and 62, 63 Saturday, up to 72 on Sunday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
The Annie Frey Show is sponsored by Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. Time to schedule your air conditioner service. Get not just your AC, but your entire HVAC system checked for $19 a month with the Preferred Partner Plan. And be ready for the first heat wave. AirComfortService.com.
Annie Frey, Ryan Wiggins, Brad Ray.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride. What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
For goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Frey Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
Just wrapped up talking with Senator Eric Schmitt. We took that basically 2 segments because they gave us the time to do it. And I appreciate so much what he was saying there. There are a lot of times where I will get done with interviews here, and some of them stick with me a little bit longer because when I'm actively engaged in the questions, I'm listening to what the guest is saying, and I have to formulate a coherent, hopefully brief question to ask them next. And so then I'll sometimes take that interview, that thought process with me in the car on the way home or whatever it might be, and I'll just think on it. And if you want to listen to these interviews that we do, of course, they're available on the Annie Frey Show podcast, available in a ton of places, but of course, the Odyssey app. One interview that I've been thinking about since I had it was yesterday's Fred Flight's interview, where he said, we should just declare victory. Do you remember that? Were you listening to that one?
Oh, yeah.
He said,
I wrote that down.
And you know, the president has the Artemis II crew standing behind him in the Oval Office, and of course the press is in there. So of course he takes questions, and he's talking. He gets a question about Vladimir Putin. He's like, I was on the phone with Putin today. President Trump reacted in the Oval Office like he had not heard the Supreme Court ruling on the Voting Rights Act yet.
Yeah, he said he hadn't.
He's like, tell me about it. Tell me what happened. And I'm thinking to myself, what's more important than the Supreme Court ruling on the Voting Rights Act today? Well, it turns out a discussion with Putin about ending a Ukraine war, to which Caitlin Collins from CNN jumps in and asks her question. He insults her, as she's apt to do. She's stone cold. I have respect for Caitlin Collins in what she does, because it would not be easy to be her up against Donald Trump, and she just shows up every day to do her job. And her job is whatever CNN has her doing. So it is what it is. She certainly isn't where I would go to get my news. But I do think that her presentation of the question in that moment where they had talked about Iran in the conversation, and they had also talked about the phone call with Vladimir Putin, she said, what will end first, the war in Ukraine or the war in Iran? I think it's a really good question. And it's one that I, a non-CNN viewer, am interested in knowing what he answers, that means that she's there. She's asking a question in this particular instance. She's asking a question on behalf of the American people. Well-presented, brief question. And the president's reaction to it was like, oh, well, that's an interesting question. And he sat there and he thought about it for a minute. It was like a pensive moment where he was thinking, and he said, well, maybe it's possible we're on the same timeline. When Fred Flight said yesterday, and he's with the America First Policy Institute, been in a bunch of intelligence communities within the government, so he has a really impressive resume. When he says yesterday that we should just declare victory, I thought to myself afterwards, we kind of already are. President Trump says repeatedly, we've decimated them. They don't have anything left. They have no cards. Well, that's victory. Why aren't we saying it?
It was a weird moment because I thought the same thing. It's actually what I wrote down for the podcast from the Fred Fleitz interview was when he said, why don't we just declare victory? It's over. They're not getting nukes. We've kind of accomplished everything we said we were going to accomplish. It made you ask, well, then what else are we trying to accomplish?
Well, his follow-up to that was, we can sit down and negotiate with Iran, but you're not going to believe them.
Well, and they'll never follow through.
You're not going to walk away from a negotiation where you say what you want. Basically, we want a public admission from them that they're going to do what we're going to make them do anyway.
Yeah.
And if we're going to make them do it anyway, then why do they have to admit it? Now, what is making them do it look like? Of course, everybody looks at this Iran war, and everybody is afraid of boots on the ground. We've had that poll before. At least the audience that participates in our YouTube poll basically said, if it gets the job done and it gets it all the way done and ends this thing quicker, we should do what we need to do. But we have to live in a state of reality. There's no reality that exists where Iran is just going to completely capitulate to what the United States and Israel and those areas in the region who have not taken Iran's side, they don't have any cards. And their word is worth dirt. It's not worth anything. So what we need to have is an agreement around the parties that matter around the subject. We all agree that Iran can't be nuclear. So Vladimir Putin, so President Xi, we know that we could negotiate, this is maybe a fantasy as well. We can negotiate our problems. And maybe, if anybody was going to do it, it's Donald Trump. Maybe there's a way that China exists the way China exists, Russia exists the way Russia exists, and we try to stay out of each other's way a little bit more instead of imposing ourselves on each other. Maybe we start to move forward in a way that's just a little less irritable towards one another, and we all come together to collectively agree, Iran, you're done. The people of Iran want it, and if Trump is legitimately suggesting that the Ukraine-Russia situation, which doesn't seem to be, if you're Russia, if you're Vladimir Putin, and you don't care how many people you lose to do whatever it is you're doing in Ukraine, you can go as long as you have people, and Russia's a pretty big country. President Trump will provide concessions to other world leaders that politically would hurt other presidents, that he will willingly give away because he feels he's getting something back that's greater in return, because that's the art of the deal. But I can't stop thinking about Fred Fleitz saying, we should just declare victory and enforce the fact that they can't ever have a nuke anymore. And I think what we all need, what I feel like I need, is the understanding that, we're going to help head that up, but it's going to be a gentle person. Not bisexual.
Say it.
I was going to say gentleman's agreement.
Okay.
And I was like, well, that leaves out the gentle ladies.
Gentle persons?
And then I was going to say it's both gender, but I was going to say bisexual.
You were going to say bisexual. Bisexual
Let's
problem that we have with
agreement.
Iran.
We've solved the whole thing. The YouTube poll have DEI policies. Oh, it took a turn. If we can have an agreement among world leaders that, of course, we don't want Iran to have nuclear assets. Of course, we don't want nuclear Iran or terrorist Iran to be funding terrorist cells across the globe. Yeah, we all agree on that. It's the other things underneath that need to be kind of ironed out to say, let's all redefine where our area is. And maybe, for the most part, we can agree, that's just not my area. I'm going to stay out of it. And all of a sudden, the isolationist thing comes in, post non-nuclear Iran. I don't know. Sounds crazy to me, but Fred Fleitz in my head going, let's just declare victory. We really have victory over him, assuming what President Trump says about their military capacity. They're losing, 400 million, billion, trillion, gazillion, I don't know how much money it is. It's incredibly consequential what's happening to them economically. And their military capacity is decimated. We win.
Well, what is the problem with us just stopping right now? Is it that they're waiting to open the Strait of Hormuz? Because if we left, it seems like they would want to reopen that because they would be back in charge of it. So that would solve itself. The only thing left is then, are they making money from their oil that funds terror? Right? Is that the only thing that we're kind of waiting?
You're saying that the oil that they're selling brings in income that they
Yes.
use to fund terror.
Yes.
We just don't let them.
How?
Global agreement from the parties that matter.
Well, if we can get it.
Who buys their oil? If China and Russia decide to at least publicly say we're not going to support this behavior from Iran anymore, we'd like to buy your oil. We'd like to pour money into your economy. Iran's going to need that money in order to rebuild. Maybe China helps rebuild it. I mean, this definitely feels like a gonna have to monitor it for decades kind of a situation where China and Russia would be somehow partners in this effort. I'm just saying, if the president is on the phone with Vladimir Putin, if the president does seem to have some sort of weird functioning relationship with both Putin and Xi, he seems to be able to talk to them, and they seem willing to talk to him. The way this can't move forward is if the United States and Israel are the only two parties who are like, this is good. It has to be regionally accepted, and Iran has not been regionally supported. And I'm sure they're all regionally grateful that Iran can't continue to do the type of terrorist activity that they've been able to do. So there'd have to be some agreements. Here, declare victory. The declaration of victory from President Trump is just political. We either have won or we haven't.
Yeah.
But how you manifest some sort of presentation of victory and you say the war is over. I mean, when they say it's over, we're all going to go, hooray. But what in that moment is different than the moment before it?
The only thing that we would notice is the same thing we've noticed the whole time. Does oil start flowing again?
Gas prices.
Gas prices, that's it. We've set them back by multiple years, Iran, at this point.
Decades.
Hopefully decades.
Decades.
So I'm not really sure what else we can get out of it. I'm more skeptical that China and Russia would be willing to enforce anything on Iran. I think they just like having them as this constant kind of chaos agent and taking their oil for cheap and all that.
Well, I mean, they don't have to do much. Basically, they just have to agree to do business with Iran in the way that they've been doing business with Iran.
Oh, well, yeah.
And continue to infuse money into the country. And like I said, they're going to need that in order to rebuild. And if they don't have to be active participants. They have to be agreeable passive participants.
Oh, if that's all you're saying, that will happen. I mean, that's like a no-brainer that they're going to just do that again.
That's where the victory is. Because if President Trump can have that agreement with Russia and China, even if it's just a public agreement that we monitor militaristically and through intelligence on the back end, because that stuff happens all the time.
Yeah.
The management of those types of activities and terrorist activities, like if you're going to have Russia and China make a public statement about investing maybe, in a way that could help rebuild Iran, but supporting the way forward in a non-nuclear Iran or whatever, just the public statement is enough that is going to make other people in the world go, well, I think we're going to all stick, let's all, and that will last as long as it lasts.
Yeah. Well, what's become evident over the last year is that at any time, we and Israel can just take out their military and their nukes at any moment we want to, and we can take out any leader that we want to. So,
well, that was a lot of Israel.
What else
specifically in partnership with?
So what else can Iran do? I mean, at this point, they know that if they step out of line, they're going to get hit and they're going to get killed. They may not care, but at least they know it. Yeah. So, what else is there to get?
Well, let's, give us your thoughts. Of course, with the YouTube poll, too, you can text us at 314-241-9797. But we'd love to get your vote on this. That's how we give the results at the end of the show. We're asking about DEI today. Have DEI policies and anti-racism education affected the level of racism in the United States? You think the DEI policies and anti-racism education has lowered racism in our country, increased it, or not even had an effect? YouTube.com/@Annie Frey, Frey. And on our live broadcast, you can vote where the live chat portion is. Got to dig a little. I'm sorry about that. And then also you can text us at 314-241-9797. We'll get some of your feedback after Ethan Sports and Local, which is next. Don't go away.
Hey, it's good to hear you.
Hey, Dad, isn't it good to see ya?
Yep, but with smoke alarms, we need to hear them. If one alarm is downstairs, you might not hear it upstairs.
At school, everyone hears the fire alarm.
That's why we install hardwired smoke alarms that all go off together, just like school.
Smoke alarms done the right way.
Green is always Grasser at GrasserHomeservices.com.
Gentlemen, Mark Cox here. When's the last time you actually felt like yourself? Victory Men's Health specializes in hormone optimization, sexual health, weight loss, and longevity. It's built for everyday men who just want to feel better and perform their best. They already have offices in Town and Country, Sunset Hills, O'Fallon, Missouri, and O'Fallon, Illinois. They're about to open a new location in Glen Carbon very soon. It's a higher standard of care just waiting for you. Learn more at victorymenshealth.com.
This is Congressman Bob Onder. Americans demanded border security, and House Republicans delivered. According to the Department of Homeland Security, for 10 consecutive months, U.S. Customs and Border Protection has reported 0 illegal aliens released at the border. I'm proud to have worked with the Trump administration to secure our southern border and uphold our immigration laws, and will keep fighting to advance strong policies that protect Missourians and keep America safe.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
Warm weather means more storms, and you never know when the high winds or the hail might damage your roof. Mark Cox here from my friends at Correll Roofing Company. If you haven't had your roof inspected in the last 5 years, you need to call Curtis Correll and get that inspection to check for leaks and for damage. We've already had small hailstorms this spring, and we're not quite a year out from the big hailstorm last May. Your window may be closing to file an insurance claim connected to that. Now, here's what Curtis tells me. They are getting roofs approved for insurance claims from that 2024 storm with no problem. They're so good at what they do. The insurance companies respect and respond to them. Consider this part of your spring maintenance for your home and call Curtis today and get him out there. He did my new roof and it looks fantastic. You're going to love working with him. They specialize in all the luxury roof shingle lines. Call 314-222-9529 or go online today to CorrellRoofingCo.com.
Don't let tax refund worries hold you back. File now with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They'll find every credit and deduction to help you get every refund dollar you deserve or your money back. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
You're listening to The Annie Frey Show. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Check it out.
Sports and local.
Handsome Hannaford with the news.
Oh.
See how nice that was?
Bow chicka wow wow.
No, not like that. Handsome.
No. Oh. Bow chicka wow wow. It's sports and local. And it's sponsored by All Financial.
I was trying to think of the grunt we were doing at the beginning of the show, and I can't remember what it was.
We were going, huh,
oh, yeah.
Come on.
Oh, it was James Brown.
Oh, get up off of that thing.
I got a text when we were doing that that said, it sounds like you guys are just constantly vomiting.
Oh, that's not good. It's not good at all. The Pittsburgh Pirates pitching was vomiting last night.
Good seg.
Thank you. 11-7 win for the St. Louis Cardinals in game number 2 of their 4-game road trip and series against the Buccos. 11-7 was the final last night. They had won the prior night by a final score of 4-2. A little bit of a, I tell you what, two opposites as far as how the offense had performed. Dating back to last year, the Cardinals were on the verge of 3 straight games in Pittsburgh without having scored a run. They score 4 runs in the 9th inning of game 1 of the series, and then they unload for 11 in yesterday's game, which included home runs from Nolan Gorman, Victor Scott II, 3 RBI night for Alec Burleson, for Jordan Walker as well. Kyle Leahy put up 5 solid innings.
Get up off of that.
Of pitching for the Cardinals. And
Can you refer to the pitchers as hurlers throughout the rest of this segment?
Hurdlers or hurlers?
Hurlers.
Hurlers. Pitching hurlers. And then anytime I say that, you have to do that noise?
Yep.
Got it. The Pirates hurlers were did not have it last night against the Cardinals. Braxton Ashcraft was the starting hurler, and he ended up throwing 4 in the third innings, and he got hurled on pretty intensely by the. Okay, I'm done with that.
We're just doing James
We're
Brown.
not. We're just getting started, Ethan. Come on now. Get up off of that thing.
Man.
I like the idea that somebody's impersonating James Brown, just going.
Well, with the win, the Cardinals move to 16-13 on the season. The
Not too bad.
Pirates are a half game behind them at 15-13. You're right, Annie. It is not that bad. They've now played 5 of the 17 that will be included in this stretch where they have no off days. So they finish out this series tomorrow and Thursday tonight. Excuse me, tonight
I'm
and
reading.
Thursday.
Have you ever read the lyrics to this song?
No. Can you?
I am now. They're not. They're pretty spicy.
Oh,
Go
yeah?
on, Ethan.
Okay.
I was going to start reading them, but some of them I will not.
Oh, I kind of want to know. Just read them with beeps. Or
No.
anytime there's a bad word, go.
Let's get back to the hurlers and the Cardinals.
Okay.
Yeah, Andre Palante is hurling for St. Louis tonight. He'll be facing off against top prospect hurler Bubba Chandler. And tomorrow, Cardinals.
Welcome to everybody just joining the Mark Cox Morning Show in the afternoon.
The Mark Cox Afternoon Show.
Yeah.
With Annie Frey hosting.
No, I don't know her.
Oh,
She's
got it.
unfamiliar to me.
Hunter Dobbins will be pitching for the Cardinals tomorrow, making his Cardinals debut. He'll be facing off against the best hurler in Major League Baseball,
Get up off of that.
Paul Skeens.
Get off of that Skeens.
Get up off of that Skeens. I hope Paul Skeens
time is
uses
it?
that as his
Yeah, there's
walk-up
more time.
music
Somebody
from now
please
on.
submit this for an award.
I will. Yeah,
Thank you.
I will.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
It'll probably get vomited on.
It'll
when
win.
they
It's
review
like
it.
most valuable employee at Union
They
Station.
win.
See if this will get us in the game.
What?
I don't want it to be for an industry award. I don't want them to know.
We're not at
What do you
Union
want it to be
Station, though.
for?
I know, just something.
Just anything.
See what we can win.
Okay.
You guys
Okay.
win an award.
You guys win an
Good
award.
job.
Hey, you know what? Most
You
of those
did
awards,
things.
they're just won by people smoking in a booth and eating pizza and listening to the first 30 seconds of something anyway, right?
Yeah. You know how
Why
it
a
goes.
booth?
I don't know.
Because that's where people smoke, Annie.
Yeah, you got to go to a booth now.
Not a smoker, wouldn't know.
Smoke booth. You know how it is.
Six Flags St. Louis will reactivate its chaperone policy this weekend,
They're
requiring
having a hard time.
Yeah, they are. They're going through it right now. They're going to be requiring all guests 16 and under to be accompanied by an adult of at least 21 years of age. The policy will continue Saturday, May 2nd, and will be in effect, I quote, for all operating hours, end quote. According to the theme park, the policy will be reactivated to help ensure our guests have a fun, safe experience at the park per Six Flags.
This
ahead.
made national news. The reason that they had to do this chaperone policy. Did you see all that?
Yes, there was a video that went viral.
Thank you.
Of it. I think they said it was around 100 teenagers broke out into a fight
On opening day.
Broke out into a fight.
Yeah. Let's all go to Six Flags and get in a fight.
Teenagers are doing this all over the country, though.
At theme parks.
Wait,
At
seriously?
they're doing it. I know them to do it everywhere. I mean, they're like teen takeovers or something.
Mm-hmm.
According to a Facebook post, for those that are planning to attend Six Flags St. Louis in the upcoming future, one chaperone can supervise no more than 6 guests who are 16 years old. Guests who are 16 and under and found inside the park without a chaperone could face ejection.
They should just make those people ride one train on a roller
that was a great
coaster
chance
until
to
their
throw
parents
one in.
come pick them up.
Yep.
Like on the Ninja. Is that still there?
Yeah.
Just keep going.
You got to get on the boss for 4 hours.
Oh, gosh.
That'll make you
That
think
might
twice.
give you CTE. Holy cow. That is just brutal
On my
to think
back.
about. Yeah, no kidding.
I've ridden that roller coaster a couple of times. I haven't been to Six Flags in a long time, but I remember when it first came out. Wonder what year that was. Because I feel like I might have still been young. Is that
I think
possible?
it was the mid to late 90s.
Okay, so we were. It's right to think that I might have been a kid.
When the boss came out, that feels right to me, yes.
I just remember thinking, this isn't safe. I mean, it felt like you, and obviously it's fine, but when you're on the roller coaster, the one at Holiday World too, is a wooden roller coaster. I don't know if it's the Raven or something like that.
Well, they have that one. I think they have one called the Voyage too.
Maybe that's the Voyage.
One of them is really long.
It's so long. I thought for an hour that it was a bad decision, and I felt like I was on the ride that whole hour.
I think that ride is like over 2.5 minutes long, which for roller coasters is
crazy.
Really long.
So the Boss opened today on 2000. Today is the
2000.
Yeah.
Oh, we were
the
close.
26th
Okay.
anniversary of the Boss.
Wow, that's cool.
2000, so it would have been high school.
Yeah.
So yeah, I remember going and I'll ride that ride, blah blah blah, and I'm on and I'm going, I don't love it.
You know
it
what's
made
crazy?
me uncomfortable.
So the Boss is a really cool wooden coaster because they kind of have moved away from wooden coasters in recent years, especially at that time. But the problem is, it's a wooden coaster, and now it's, you say, 26 years old.
Yeah.
They age.
Wooden coasters get rickety, and that's a fast one, too, and you
Screaming
can
Eagle?
feel it. Well, Screaming Eagle is up and down, so you don't feel it as much.
It's a hot mess.
The
Screaming
Boss
Eagle's way worse
goes
than the
in
Boss.
such weird directions because it's a newer coaster, but now it's 26 years old, that, man,
It's just hitting its stride.
every little twist and turn in that, you can feel it.
Ethan, you a roller coaster guy?
Yes, but
Ooh,
I just
hesitation.
don't care for the lines that go into waiting for them.
So you're not patient.
Correct.
Okay.
I don't like close proximity with strangers. It is just
You're a
not
COVID
my
kid.
thing. No, I just don't really like it. It's not even that. It's more so like I don't want to be around people. Does that make sense?
Oh,
You
it
know what I'm
makes
saying?
sense.
You understand what I'm saying?
It makes sense.
Well, happy birthday to Mr. Boss. I hope
You can tell that you're not really into rides because you called it a line and not a queue.
Say Q like that again, just so we can be sure.
Queue.
That made me want to do.
Line anon.
Line anon. Thank you. Appreciate that. One more, Annie? Mm-hmm. The Missouri Athletic Club has expanded, opening a new location in Clayton, looking to bring together a combination of dining, fitness, and workspace amenities. The new facility, that'll be known as MAC Clayton, is the club's third location, with locations also downtown and in West County. It's going to feature several different things, including combined workplace, social, and fitness center. It's going to have that area in general has more than 2,000 businesses and 40,000 professionals, so it makes it a good spot for them. It'll also offer breakfast, lunch, and dinner on site, along with a bar and lounge, private meeting rooms, and co-working areas, fitness center, event space, wine storage, cigar lockers. So there's going to be a lot of different features at MAC Clayton that is going to be opening up soon.
Interesting.
Missouri Athletic Club is so nice that
Yeah.
whenever I've gone in there, I feel like
You
I'm
get
going
kicked out?
to get found out. They're like, oh,
He's here.
Yeah, that guy.
It's because you walk around going,
Yeah.
That might
And
be a
hip
part
thrusting.
to try to
Oh, that'll do it.
try to
Do you
blend
do them
in.
at the same time?
I walk that. Yeah. I just walk in hip thrusts
Oh,
wherever I go.
gotcha.
And I'm like, I think they're going to find out I'm here.
You do that in the pool too, or like the
That
workout?
is exactly
Doesn't
how
matter
you-
where?
Just in the corridors.
You would attempt to blend in.
Just at the entrance.
I'm one of you.
He's got a top hat and a cane. All right, let's break here. We'll be back in just a minute. The YouTube poll: have DEI policies and anti-racism education affected the level of racism in the United States? Your thoughts can text right here straight to the show at 314-241-9797, 314-241-9797. And we want your vote on the Annie Frey YouTube live chat poll. We'll be right back.
The summer heat and humidity will be here soon. Is your air conditioner ready? This is Corey with Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. If your cooling system hasn't been checked to be ready for the warm weather, call Air Comfort Service. AC checks keep your equipment operating at maximum efficiency, prevent repairs, and extend the life of your equipment. For every AC clean and check booked in April, we'll donate a bag of pet food to Open Door Animal Sanctuary in House Springs. Stay in your comfort zone with a cooling system check from Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. Visit aircomfortservice.com. That's aircomfortservice.com.
Hey guys, are you dealing with low energy weight gain or issues in the bedroom? Game Day Men's Health is the premier men's health clinic in the St. Louis area with locations in Chesterfield and O'Fallon, Missouri. They specialize in low testosterone and sexual health, and they also help men and women with medical weight loss, vitamins, and peptides. They offer free consultations and testosterone tests with results in about 20 minutes. Get in, get answers, get back to the top of your game. Visit GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Again, that's GameDayMen'sHealth.com.
Hi, I'm Dr. Mary Claire Haver, a board-certified OBGYN and menopause specialist. My new podcast, Unpaused, is the place for bold, unfiltered conversations about what it really takes for women to thrive in the second half of life. Every week, I sit down with medical experts, cultural icons, and powerhouse women to talk about what really matters. New episodes drop every Tuesday. Listen to and follow Unpaused with me, Dr. Mary Claire Haver, available now wherever you get your podcasts.
You've been listening to the very popular Wellness One for many years, Saturdays and Sundays on 97.1 FM Talk. We're happy to share that we've expanded the show to 4 times a week. Yes, 4 times every weekend. Saturday at 10 a.m., Saturday at 8 p.m., Sunday at 9 a.m., and Sunday at 2 p.m. It's the same great show designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you a common sense, science-based strategy for a healthy life. So join TJ and Aaron for Wellness One. Now 4 times a week on 97.1 FM Talk.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you've been injured in a car accident, call America's largest injury law firm. For over 35 years, my mission has been to deliver more for our clients, to deliver more for you. Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Hey, it's Mark Cox. Beat the spring cleaning rush. Call my cleaning heroes at Zero Res. Let Zero Res help you refresh your home with cleaner carpets, fresh floors, and improved air quality. You can check out all of their raging customer reviews online with a 4.9 Google rating. This week, buy 1 room of carpet cleaned, get 1 room of carpet cleaned free, unlimited rooms. Call 314-474-2020 or go online at ZeroResSTL.com.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how linking to the market is much safer than owning the market for your retirement savings. They're the official financial advisors of my show. Go to retirementkey.com.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
From Festus to Freeburg, 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Do you ever feel like you unlock some sort of thing in life and it's a really small, simple thing and you want to share it with people, but you know no one's going to care about it as much as you do, but you're really pumped about it?
Yeah, there were some allergy pills like that a few years ago nobody cared about that I was really excited about.
I would have bet $1,000 you were going to talk about a candy.
No, it was allergies. This was the name of it. Allergies.
Is it still a thing?
Now it's called Allerbreeze. But yeah,
is it for better marketing purposes?
I don't know. It was hard to talk about, so probably.
I'm sharing a product that I do not endorse, although if Downey wants to connect with me, I would be happy to endorse this product at Walmart. Do you scent boost in your laundry?
Once in a while, I'll scent boost. Yeah.
Trying to break the habit.
Trying to break the smell.
Do you guys who does the laundry in your house, Brad? Do you do
My wife does the laundry in our house.
All of it?
All of it.
Wow. Do you want to do mine?
That's just 2 people.
I know. I understand that.
Yeah, she could do a couple more, right?
Yeah, exactly. What's 2?
I mean, if the price is right, I'm sure she would.
It's the price. Like literally, we were at the laundromat this past weekend again. We
Really?
took it over. Yeah, we have to do that every 2 or 3 months.
Wow.
We can't keep up. Cannot keep up. But we can spend 2 to 3 hours in a laundromat, and our house is clean. Then we have second floor laundry. When we were looking to purchase the house that we live in now, I wanted second floor laundry because I hate laundry, and if it's able to creep into your living space, it will never not be there. So second floor laundry to me meant that's where the clothes come off. You know, it's where the bathrooms, the showers are. So the laundry will just stay upstairs. So if it's a mess, at least it'll be upstairs. But we don't have a laundry room because the laundry isn't. We have this like full closet space and we have a nice washer and dryer, but there's no space. Maybe if there were just 2 people living in this 4-bedroom house, which would be silly, we'd be able to manage it. But it's out of control. So every once in a while we have to go to the laundromat. And we had all 6 people in there. I was like, you see something come out of this dryer that you don't like, that you don't want, that's got a hole in it, it does not go back in the house. Look me in the eyes, kids. And all 6 of us were there in this system that my husband and I created. But Jared came up, found this Downy Light laundry. They're Downy laundry scent beads. And you put them in the washing machine. before you wash your clothes. And all day today, when I move, I smell it on my shirt, and I just smell so good. And it makes me happy. It's a simple thing.
That's great to hear. And you know what would help you smell better is if you didn't have allergies. And that's why I endorse Aller Breeze from Zoller.
You don't endorse them. And
Well,
you can't.
I pretend to.
Why are you talking like you're a butler?
I'm talking like an old-timey announcer. Well, yes, Annie, absolutely. That's not the way a butler talks. That's an old-timey announcer.
That's not how your butler talks to you?
Mm-mm.
That's how my butler talks to me.
Jeeves is half British.
Jeez. I just think that laundry scent stuff is so helpful when you're going through all the laundry and you're moving things quickly. That's my recommendation for today. Get the Ocean Mist Downy Light laundry scent beads and whatever allergy thing you said you like.
Yep, get that thing. Although I don't really even use it anymore. A few years ago, it was super helpful.
How could you be so pumped on it and you don't use it anymore?
I'm not sure. Maybe my body chemistry's changed a little bit. You know how people's body chemistry changes? It just sounds gross. There's nothing wrong with it. It just sounds gross.
Not as well as you do. You want to talk about your doctor appointment?
I do, a little bit.
We haven't pregame this. You
No.
told me yesterday you'd talk about it tomorrow. I didn't ask you if you wanted to do that on air or off air.
I'm okay with doing it on air.
Well, let's learn.
So I went to the doctor yesterday for my kidney stone follow-up. And it was the first time I had seen him in person since I've had not only the CAT scan yesterday, which I've never done one where they do the dye. They inject you with dye, and then they watch where it goes in your body and stuff. So I had to do that. It was like a pretty intensive one. The one before was just normal. And so this first time I've been in office, he's comparing the two CAT scans. And he's going, okay, here's your new one. And it shows that you're completely clean. You don't have any more kidney stones. So hallelujah. But then he goes, here's your old one. And he was looking for a couple things. He said, it looks like it's all worked out pretty well. But he goes, you see that right there? This little white spot? And I'm like, yeah. He goes, that was your kidney stone. Now that's gone. Here he was comparing and contrasting. He goes, I got to ask you, though, did you see another doctor or anything in the meantime? And I'm like, no, just saw you. And he goes, so you didn't have surgery to remove it or anything? And I'm like, no. Should I have? He goes, you just passed it. You just passed it normal. I'm like, yeah, what am I supposed to do? He goes, well, I would have recommended based on its size
surgery
that you would have had surgery. And I said, well, how big was it? And he goes, well, anytime you get above a 1 millimeter, it's painful. Anytime you get into 4, 5, 6 millimeters, that's when you start to talk about probably having surgery. And I said, well, how big was mine? And he goes, between 7 and 8. And I said,
you weren't faking the whole time?
I guess not.
I knew
and
you
I
weren't.
said,
You did not feel well.
I said, that sounds really large.
Yeah.
And he said, yeah, it's one of the biggest ones I've ever seen.
He was talking about the kidney stone?
I don't know. I didn't specify.
I just want to make sure I didn't divert from the attention of
I was
this.
completely naked.
You're talking to your urologist.
In the office. He's like, you don't need to take your
I love
clothes
how
off.
this concludes with that's the biggest one he's ever seen, with just the questions that you're asking in your mind that Ryan wants you to be asking.
I
think I'm turning red right now.
Here's
I don't
what's
like
weird.
this.
Here's what's weird. I actually thought I was a wimp. I thought, oh, this is probably not even that big of a kidney stone. And I'm going to find out later that people pass double this size. And
Did
I'm
you
just
Google it? Did
I'm
you
just a
grok it?
weakling. No, I didn't Google what a large kidney stone is, but I took his word for it. But that's what he said. He's like, I can't believe you passed this, and then didn't keep it. I'm like, oh, I'm supposed to dig it out. He's like, dude, you would have seen it. I'm like, I guess so, but I don't know. Here's the thing, though. When our team went to Disney World 3 years ago, that was the first time I had ever had a kidney stone. Here's the crazy thing. That one was more painful than this.
How big was that one?
I don't know. Now it makes me wonder. Because I was laying on the floor wondering about death in the midst of passing that one.
The Disney one?
The Disney one. This one, I never got to that point. I mean, I was definitely uncomfortable the whole time, but it seemed like it took a lot longer this time. I don't know. But anyway, that's what I...
Maybe you've greased the tunnel.
I wonder...
Got some elbow room in there now.
It's kind of spread its wings a bit. And I wonder if
We're talking about the kidney stone?
Yeah, I'm talking about the kidney stone. What else are we talking about? What even euphemism could that be?
Nothing.
So I wonder if I pass kidney stones regularly and don't really know it because they're not huge, and it's only when they get to be massive like this that they cause all this discomfort. But I was actually pretty happy to hear that I'm not a weakling, because I always thought this is probably no big deal for somebody who passes them regularly. And to hear him go, no, it's one of the biggest. He's a urologist. He's like one of the biggest I've ever seen. Like, all right. Well, at least I can hang my hat on that.
Were you going to say something, Brad?
No, I'm just shocked that, like,
That's the biggest one he's ever seen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is beside myself.
That's just doctors seeing other patients.
I'm completely naked.
No, my
No,
my
he's
question
not.
is like, how long ago was this that you were having these kidney stone things?
Well, this one
The
seemed to
issues,
last.
like, when did it start?
Well, the first time I ever knew anything that I could even have them was with you guys at Disney World.
No. This last incident.
This would have started mid-January to February.
So it was mid-January to February, and your first appointment to say, hey, you're going to need to have surgery to get rid of this thing was yesterday?
Well, no.
Oh.
My first appointment with this guy was in the midst of all of it.
Okay.
And so he was comparing that CAT scan when I still had it to now when I don't.
So you had that cat. Okay, so this was like just a follow-up. Hey, it's gone.
Yeah, this was just a follow-up to compare.
So when was he going to recommend surgery?
Well, that's what I'm saying. When was this going to happen? I don't know.
Because that's a long time to suffer with that.
Yeah, and I guess I did pass it only like 2 or 3 days after the CAT scan.
Yeah.
So I think I passed it before they even had seen it.
Okay.
The original CAT scan. Does that answer all your questions?
Does he have advice on how to avoid this in the future? Not in the past.
He did. He gave me some really good advice that was, I don't know, it's not necessarily directly related to kidney stones, but he said when you are at a restaurant and you have to stand to order, he said, I don't think you should have to tip at all. And I'm like, that's not related to this, but I still think that's good advice.
I'm not dignifying your dumb comment with laughter.
But it was funny, though.
No.
He didn't actually say that.
That's shocking.
He didn't give me any specific. I mean, hydrate, which I have been doing quite a bit more. I've been doing this.
Your cystic fibrosis causes you to be a little more prone, correct?
Because I'm on more antibiotics. I've been taking. Did I tell you guys this? I've been taking a shot of lemon juice.
Yeah.
And olive oil every morning. Part of it is because I opened this question up a month ago to the text line here, and people were recommending it in our online chat and the text line, and enough people said it there and in my personal life that I started doing it, and I've lost like 10 pounds without doing anything. So I don't know if it's because of that or what, but man, that lemon juice and olive oil thing, they say to put cayenne pepper into it too, which I do, and ginger, and some people add like garlic and stuff. But I take that every morning.
Little engine oil.
I don't know.
Just throwing the whole kitchen sink in
and
there.
Manuka honey. But all of it's supposed to be good for inflammation. So I've talked to people who know a lot about it with arthritis and things. They say it really helps them. It's really good for CF, and apparently the lemon juice is good.
Would
for
you
kidney
cold
stones.
plunge?
I have done it once.
It's the only time. It only takes once for me
Yeah.
to never. Maybe one day, but I do not have it in me to cold plunge.
I know the guys that are recommending this, they do that. They do the cold plunge. Some of them. Because it's like a whole thing.
Inflammation.
They have a tub in their garage, and they'll just go at 4 a.m. and be like, cold plunge. I'm like, I'm not that intense. Get up off of that.
All right, let's take a break. We'll get the results to the YouTube live chat poll. Got any texts coming in right now, Ryan? 314-241-9797. Have DEI policies and anti-racism education affected the level of racism in the United States? Let us know your thoughts. Those results at the end of the show before we hand it over to Mark Reardon in about 10 minutes. We'll be right back. HomeshieldFoundationRepairs.com. If you're looking for information on how to fix your basement or even just foundation in your home, if there is some settling taking place, and this is natural to happen, of course, a lot of times that settling of your home, it makes itself evident in maybe a crack in the wall, maybe initially a hairline crack, the paint maybe shows through, or maybe the plaster, and then if the shifting happens a little bit more, you'll see that crack in your wall creep a little bit. When you invite Matt Hayes to your home to look at what kind of foundational concerns you have, he has a whole host of different solutions to make sure that your foundation is, once again, firm. 314-271-9900 is the number to call and reach Matt Hayes at Home Shield Foundation Repair. He can use a service called peering, and they take this, as far as their competition goes, they take it beyond. They take it to the point where it is going to be fortified from every possible way. They're doing such great job with people just like you right here in St. Louis as a local family-owned and operated business. 314-271-9900, HomeShieldFoundationRepairs.com.
97.1 FM Talk in Action is spotlighting Our Ladies Inn, providing safe shelter, care, and support for pregnant women and children facing homelessness. Since 1982, they've helped local families build stable, independent futures. Learn more at OurLadiesInn.org.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon with Stewie from Stewart's American Mortgage. We are in the 6th hottest real estate market in the country, Stewie. What can buyers in St. Louis do to gain that advantage with you?
You know what, Mark? It's real simple. Number one, the Bagel loan. Bagel looks like a zero, easy to remember. No closing costs, no title fees, no lender fees, no appraisal fees. The Big Bagel looks like a zero, easy to remember. Take that money you're saving, add it to the bid, beat all the other offers out. Number two, we give you the power of the pre-approval letter. What does that mean? We pre-approve you for the maximum amount that you qualify for. You can then go into our portal and edit the letter and raise it or lower it to any amount you want up to the amount you pre-approved. No waiting for the loan officer, no waiting for anybody else. It's all in your hands. And the third thing, we can close in 10 days. That's a big deal. If you go to the seller and say, hey, here's my offer. It may not be the best, but we can close quick. Everybody else is 30 days out. You know it's going to happen quickly with our reputation. Big bam, boom, you got the house of your dreams.
Call or text Stewie at 314-324-4440 or Google the Bagel Loan. NMLS number 226715.
At LendSeek, we know running a business takes heart, hustle, and sometimes a little help. That's why we stand with you with our exclusive AI lending platform, connecting you to over 100 funders. If you've been in business for at least 2 years with a minimum annual revenue of $500,000, you can get up to $1 million in funding in as fast as 24 hours. No collateral, no prepayment penalties, no red tape. Apply today with no cost or obligation at lendseek.com. That's LENDSEEK.com.
Mrs. Weiland, why don't you go ahead and read the top line for me?
I should.
Next line.
Get my retirement. What's that?
Checked, Mrs. Weiland. Get your retirement checked.
Planning retirement on your own doesn't pass the eye test. Jerry Ricken and Heidi Ricken Provost at Ricken Financial can help bring your retirement into focus. Call 314-207-6211. Ricken Financial, making sure your retirement vision is 2020.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor.
Our question for you today in the YouTube live chat poll is, have DEI policies and anti-racism education affected the level of racism in the United States? Yes, it has lowered racism. Yes, it has increased racism. Or no, no effect. Those are your options. Here's one comment from G Wibbs. It says, DEI is the opposite of any type of healing. It's more like constant picking on a scab. It will never heal. I think that means he's saying it's increased racism or no effect. One of those two. It's definitely not saying that it's lowered racism. What's your take on this? Let us know, and we will give you the results here in just about 5 minutes, so you got a little bit of time. 250. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
JerryKelly.com. You're listening to the Annie Frey Show on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Welcome back to the Annie Frey Show. Have DEI policies and anti-racism education affected the level of racism in the United States? I really don't. Just my anecdotal experience, I don't know how you look at this question and say it hasn't increased racism. A subsequent question to this one is, can you be racist if you're not white?
Well, you absolutely can, but in public discourse, that's typically not the case.
A good example of the segment I want to do is I don't accept the premise.
Ah, I see.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just something we're talking about off air about when I'm constantly having political conversations with people where, just like people I love and care about who think differently than I do, and they know that they can come talk to me about political types of things. And when they come to me, the point that they're trying to make requires me to accept 4 or 5 different things as fact. It's like, wait a second, I can't even discuss with you the point you're trying to make.
Yeah.
Because what you've presented as your lead into the facts, the factual lead into the opinion that you're trying to assert here, I don't accept any of those things to be true. Anyway, I was thinking about doing a segment on the show where we choose whether or not we'll accept the premise or not. So if you have any of those, if that makes any sense to you, we were just kind of spitballing it off the air a little bit before.
It's been a few years, it might have been even before I worked here, that I read a very long article where somebody interviewed a bunch of HR reps at big companies and was allowing them to be anonymous so that they could talk openly about a variety of issues. But the one they honed in on was DEI training at workplaces. And the vast majority of HR representatives said it makes everything much harder, first of all.
I saw a report. I had that. I sent that tweet to myself so I could bring it up. But it was saying that the workplace attention to that detail has made it a more racist place to be.
And that's the other takeaway, was that it actually made racism in the workplace worse because I can't remember exactly what their conclusion of why that was. It was something like people were less willing to talk about it openly and resolve conflict openly because they were so afraid of saying anything that really everything was just sort of left to fester. Plus, you kind of introduce this idea of a implied power structure by doing it, which is across the board.
Pick out a text for us to read here. I'm going to read a YouTube comment here. Yes, absolutely. I mean, it was the hope and change its creator was going for, conquer and divide. Fish said 100% has increased racism. Any policies that teach us to pick someone based on the color of their skin and not the quality of their work or character, DI is actually fueling racist policies. Before we get to the text, Brad, what were your thoughts on this?
It absolutely has increased racism. Everything now seems like there's more of a racial divide in this country than there was whenever I was younger, whenever I was in junior high and high school. And the only thing that has changed is these efforts like DEI and CRT to eliminate racism. That it hasn't. It's stoked division. It's created animosity. It's created anger. And it's created racial quotas to meet certain demands and jobs. That's racism. When you're deciding who somebody is or whether or not they get the job based on the color of their skin, that's racism. Plain and simple.
This text says, DEI has made the racist climate much worse. The sad part is that Barack Obama had a golden chance to heal and bring our country together. Instead, he chose to create more division.
Yeah.
He told the country that systemic racism was over because a black man from humble, modest beginnings had made it to the office, but then he didn't really do anything with that position.
To piggyback on that, FC said on YouTube, I'm old enough to remember when racism was actually on life support. Then came Obama. And Jackie said, DEI policies have done nothing positive and only increased racism. The YouTube live chat poll results with over 200 votes today. Have DEI policies and anti-racism education affected the level of racism in the United States? 4% of you think that DEI and anti-racism education have lowered racism. We've got 9% who think it hasn't had an effect. 87% of you say that DEI policies and anti-racism education have increased racism. Let us get back to that meritocracy, don't you think? Keep it right here on 97.1 FM Talk. Mark Reardon is next.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Money, sponsored by University of Maryland Global Campus.
Make sure you get the right information when you're researching and booking a hotel room online. Travel vlogger Mark Walter says you could get a better deal through the hotel's website instead of a booking app.
The small local hotel, then they're getting all the money. They're not having to share it with a third party.
As for online reviews,
look at the news reviews. Are they doing, some construction there? Are they doing remodeling? Or is it now a smelly hotel?
I'm Rob Hart.
You know the rush when you reach that goal, when something you've worked for pays off. That's success. At University of Maryland Global Campus, we believe you should never stop chasing it. That's why we offer a skills-based education that helps move your career forward. Learn how to apply emerging technologies like AI and data science. Build your leadership and critical thinking skills. Apply now and save with no application fee. Classes start May 13th. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Shell.